Yes, it's always been a pleasure to be with you people, especially in the sessions or in the working environment. And I'm really glad to attend the session to learn more and more. So I am on 7 today.
And Jorge?
Yeah, I'm ready to start the session. I'm glad to be here again, and yeah, ready to start.
I'm on 7 today.
I'm at 7 as well.
All right, I'll go next. I have been feeling better. I definitely feel a little better than yesterday. I think it's just like a food stomach thing. I've been feeling like nauseous, but probably around like a 4.5 or something like that. But hanging in there and just definitely feeling better. So there's so much to do. It's like a little overwhelming with everything, but I'm still confident that everything is going in the right direction. Check. Anyone else need to check in?
We need 4.5, sorry.
I think there's all of us.
Okay, we all checked in. Thomas checked in? Yeah, we did him. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Sweet. So yeah, I would like people to just jump in and write their names down if they want to help out with any of the positions for today.
Sure.
Can
you please let me know when the recording starts?
206.
206.
Oh?
206. So it's a recording for the main Andromeda session, and it's Thursday, November 30th. All right, so yeah. So let's go into our desired outcomes. Steve, do you want to do the desired outcomes today?
Yes. We need to discuss about payroll, how to do the bonuses, how to calculate the bonus, how to calculate the output in order to make it from hours to actual pay. And I think we need a better understanding. One of my desired outcomes is to have a better understanding to do that in order to have the FQN payroll ready on time, better timing. That's one. Other one, which one was the other one, Jorge?
I'm checking our body team. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
I have one.
Oh yeah, the about announcement on Slack, how to set it.
Yeah,
from Slack, so we can change it.
We still don't know how to set the bot announcement for Slack for the monthly value tracking. So it would be good to know how to set it up or set it up.
Okay, my desired outcome is to explain to everyone here who doesn't know exactly how to use the new recruitment log, contact log, because there were some mistakes made yesterday that I had to spend like an hour correcting today. And my other desired outcome is to I guess that's it for the Andromeda session. I have desired outcomes for the Atlantic, but they don't belong here.
Okay, I have a desired for today. Mine is to check whether everyone here has done his or her own individual bios.
Okay, so now the desired outcome is to discuss everybody doing their individual bios. Okay. Okay, I know you have to have some.
I mean, I definitely want to get to our group team goals and priorities. Obviously, we need to talk about recruitment. Mine is basically to be prepared for the recruitment and the recruitment hard stop that's coming real soon at the full moon.
Okay. Anybody else have some desired outcomes?
I just said mine as well.
Okay. Then let's go on to topics. Primary topics, of course, are recruitment. And the hard stop that might follow. Are you typing there? Yeah. X value, VGXMS and high entities. It's being worked on. All right, anybody else have topics besides recruitment? I guess payroll was a topic that wanted to get discussed.
I'll add hard stop preparation as its own topic as well, separate from recruitment.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, so just so you guys understand the new format for the focus of the meeting. So the focus of the meeting on 3 things. One is the group team setup. So anything that has to do with our internal organizing for our team goes there. Then you have the team goals and priorities. So these would be like, you know, things that need to be prioritized as part of our weekly goals. And then primary topics would be topics that are coming out of these priorities and, you know, separate things that we need to address. Hopefully that makes sense.
Mercury session preparation.
So did you hear me, Steve, or not?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay, so all this stuff is already written up in group team setup, plus the Mercury session is an internal matter, so it would go under group team setup.
Okay.
You put that up there along with all the other stuff. It's all there already. You're just rewriting it.
Okay. Then I don't understand why we have. Well, then why would we have any topics if it's? What would be a topic?
Topics would basically be non-prioritized, you know, topics that need to be addressed separate from team goals.
Okay,
and
non-priority things are topics.
So, yeah, and next steps and things like that, you know.
Okay.
So we could, for example, we could review our previous topics or next steps. And that is actually one thing to mention is that the midweek check-in, which should be happening at the overlap on like, you know, Mondays or something like that, should be preparing the agenda and reviewing all of the topics, you know, the master topic list, right? And so that we should already have some of that done before we even get here. Anyways, we'll get better at that. Julio. You can put that as the next step. How long? What do you guys want to prioritize the highest for a group team setup?
I think the recruitment and the hard stop preparation, and then
yeah, I agree with that.
Then I think the Mercury section preparation and the payroll, and the payroll training. And I know we've done this 100 million times, Jay. One more time, can you just step by step show me how we actually do the calculations to rank somebody as part of the recruitment? I just can't seem to figure out how to do the, you know, when we have new people, how to rank them. I don't know. I've missed something. I don't know. I tried to do it today. We had a few new ones, and I just couldn't get it to work. So I left it alone, and I feel like an idiot for not knowing how to do it, but it is what it is.
No, it takes a couple important steps that we can go over. Cool. So for the recruitment, there is okay, cool, awesome. All right, I think this looks good. Let's just put some numbers on it. So groom team step up, do like 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes.
The other thing in recruitment is I need to discuss the just for the people who don't understand it, the recruitment contact log. because there were some mistakes made yesterday. It'll take 2 minutes.
Cool. All right. So recruitment, I think we could spend 20 to 30 minutes on recruitment. Hard stop preparation, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Payroll training calculations. How long do you need for that, Nelly? Like 10 minutes?
10 to 15 minutes, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Bio should just be like 2 to 5 minutes. Just be quick.
Yeah.
We could even start with that. It's really fast and easy. Mercury session preparation. What do we need?
We've already talked about it a bit in our session today, but yeah, I started working on it already with what forms we need to send out beforehand.
Okay, well let's just put these in other next steps. We'll see if we get there. And I think that's pretty good. And then hopefully we can get to our goals and priorities for like 10 to 15 minutes for the week. All right, does this look good or what?
Yeah, it looks good. Does anybody have any objections to the desired outcomes and the focus and goals of the meeting?
No, I got objections.
Objection.
Okay. Agreement.
Miguel, did you say anything else, or are we good?
Yeah, I'm good. And
Okay.
one other thing is exact taxes. 1099s are the form of the taxes.
We have to fill out, send them out to the people who have to get them.
But 1099s are the format.
Yes, that's the form. Yes.
Thanks.
Cool. And
It's about
one
6 lines of information, and that's it. It's a quick form.
one really quick announcement that I want to make is that I got word from digital storytellers, this is in our nonprofit, right, that they feel like the 990 form, that there are numbers that are incorrect. So we do have an audit there that needs to be addressed.
Okay, well, we're working with their numbers, but we can certainly go over it.
Yeah, I think it might be possible that they had money that went through a separate nonprofit that they're including. So we have to figure that out. Okay, so
Okay, that's not a problem. We'll work on that.
yeah, okay, just wanted to mention that in our goals. All right, so
Okay.
I think we have agreement. Let's go into the group team setup. I think we're gonna basically skip doing our spreadsheet, but we can't forget about that. Just remember, we don't want to forget about the team setup verification spreadsheet. Okay. All right. So are we ready to go into recruitment and then hard stop preparation and payroll training and calculations?
Yep, sounds like it.
Let's do it. Recruitment. So my goal for
Maybe we can
recruitment-
check also BS mesh.
I don't understand.
Maybe we can check. We can have a little bit of training on BS XMS.
Okay, so you want to go? So you're saying
Yeah.
you want to go back to our agenda and our goal setting?
If possible, if we have time, it will be really good
Oh,
to
so this would be.
to
Oh my
know
God, what's going on here?
how to do BS
Agreement
XMS.
on goals and topics. What? No, that goes in the notes. The agreement on goals and topics goes in the notes. Whoever did that.
Okay.
That was my start.
Okay, so this is just our agenda and topics. It's not our notes or agreement. So okay, so what I want to add here is this is where primary topics come in. So basically, we would say, okay, regardless of whatever our goals, our goals and priorities for the week are, we want to talk about these things. For example, exit value tracking, VZ exit mesh, or anything else people want to prioritize above other stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and then from there we go other priority goals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Whether we get here, I don't know. You know, do we have time to do all these things? We have to get through everything else. If we can get through everything else quickly, we can do it. All right.
Okay.
So let's check on our timekeeper. We have Jorge Citinelli. Yeah. So bust out on the timekeeping and push us through quickly so that we can get to everything. There's a lot. All right, recruitment. So I would say for recruitment, it would be good to review our desired outcomes and also make sure we're covering any other aspects of this. So what I have here for recruitment is that we want to desired outcomes to be prepared for recruitment. Wait, am I sharing my screen?
No. Nope.
Okay, there we go. All right, so desired outcomes is to be prepared for recruitment and recruitment hard stop. Explain how exactly to use the new recruitment contact verification log. Another desired outcome I would have is to, you know, prioritize going one by one through each recruit. You know, I want to basically treat people like as unique human beings, right? That's and build relationships. Right, that's how we do recruitment, right? Because I don't see how it can be successful without that. What else? Anything else you guys can think of? Oh yeah, making the recruitment budget. How to make a recruitment budget based on ranking.
And just if we have the time, how to do the public rankings, how to rank somebody at this time.
Cool. All right. So I would say our this is kind of like our mini agenda would be one to get a status update on where we currently are with recruitment, especially related to the three primary goals, the three sextant goals, and local SF. From there, we need to go through the contact verification log and establish a list of priority recruits. I think that's pretty much it, right? And then we can talk about the hard stop separately. Does that sound good?
Yes.
So let's put some numbers on this. So our status update, let's do 5 minutes for our status update. Contract verification log, 3 to 5 minutes. Establish such a priority recruits, 5 minutes. Calculations, ranking for making the budget, 5 to 10 minutes. The only other thing missing here would be basically our plan moving forward. And this would include promotions. That's it. All right. So, and then hard stop preparation will be afterwards. So right now we're focusing on how to prevent the hard stop. Okay, Steve, go for it.
Okay. So, looking at the recruitment, what was done since the 27th, there have been 2, 4. Hold on a second. Let me count this up. 2, 4, 6, 8.
So we can see this.
Certainly. Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
And anything you're looking at, you should be linking to the notes too, or send it in the Hangout so that someone else can link it into the notes.
Okay. Let me get the link to it and send it. I am looking at the recruitment log right now, that contact log, which has been used since the 27th. It's linked to the notes. If you see the 120 West, the local headquarters, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 12 emails sent. Out of some of those, we have at least 4 that have been sent either first and second invitations, and we have a whole bunch yesterday that were sent the initial questionnaire. For the 180 West, we have 3 that were sent. Nelly sent a couple on the second. Lucy emailed Monty on the 8th, and Monty, Leah, and Jacinta were re-emailed on the 28th for the 60 West and 60 East. You can see down by the bottom, there are, some more sent out. We got 6 to 4, 5 in the 60 West and 4 in the 60 East that were sent out. A lot of these actually sent invitations. All of those are actually sent invitations for the 60 East. The 180 West, the 60 West, and the 60 East were all sent invitations. That seems like, since the 27th, we've gotten a decent number of emails sent out. Also, I saw that the Central Asia has been sending out to all kinds of boards in Hawaii and Alaska for recruitment, for local job recruitment. I don't know if it's going out as an email, and I need to talk to Zillow Nudes. He needs to CC us on what's being sent out, but it might just be posted to a board, in which case that we have, it would be nice if he makes a list of what was posted, just so we know, and maybe link it somewhere. I'd have to think about where. Basically, that's where we stand in the last 5 days, 4 or 5 days. Before that, when I look at the Google group, it'll probably about another 10 emails sent out in the few days before that. So that's basically where we're at. I checked today. As of today, we have no new responses, and there are some new things on the Google group, on the public rankings rather. Down at the bottom, I think but none of them were for priority sections, unless something came in since earlier today. From line 255 to 250 to 260. Wait, we got a new one, Menlo Park. That came in the last hour, I guess. Because it wasn't there an hour ago, or half an hour ago. So we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 that need to be added, that need to be ranked. That's where I'm at. If anybody else has anything they want to add. Hello?
So just to
Okay.
make sure.
Everybody's being silent. I thought my hang had dropped.
Okay, so just to make sure we're clear on the notes here, it says few emails has been sent in last 4 days. Is that correct?
No, in the last 4 days, it's more than a few. In the last 4 days, we're talking, since the 27th, we're talking a total of 26 contacts were made.
Right. All right, cool. All right.
And that's only since we made the log on the 27th. There are about 10 more that are in the Google group before that.
So we sent decent amount of emails in the last 4 days, right?
People are sending emails, re-inviting. We have some second invites here. We have a lot of new. Whoever just filled in all this Jorge and Miguel, I wish you wouldn't have done that. You did not send invites to these people. You sent them the initial questionnaire, and that's what I wanted to discuss. I don't know who just put all this back in when I had taken it out earlier and spent at least an hour trying to figure it out. So I really wish you would have made changes on the doc if you don't know exactly what you're doing yet. I'm going to take this moment to explain what my problem was.
So we have one more question about the status, and then let's go into the contact verification log. Okay. All right. So my last question is just on onboarding and scheduling for new
Okay. The only one that I know for sure that joined was Paola, or however you pronounce the name. And I know she was there with Nelly and I think Jorge the other day. So was she put it? Whether she was put into the schedule or not, I don't know.
Who?
Nelly, Jorge,
Who?
was she?
Yeah.
She's in the schedule on the calendar.
Who?
Oh, Paola.
Bella? No, she's not. I don't think so.
All right.
Okay,
When she was here the other day, did you make a main doc, work reporting doc, and all that? Personnel.
Bella? Oh, Paula. Yes, she has everything already is ready for her. Main doc, online profile, work reporting.
Okay, but I wasn't. I don't know if we need to go through all of
equity
that.
analysis.
We don't really need to go through all of that right now. The priority is scheduling. Yeah, the scheduling is the only thing that matters.
Right. Was she scheduled for any shifts? Yes.
She told us she will be here during Andromeda sessions.
Okay, cool.
That's not an answer. Was she added to the calendar and put on the second duodecan schedule?
No, she wasn't.
No, she
All right.
All right. So
Okay, so if that, without doing that, she's not here. You know.
yeah. So anyways,
Until she gets scheduled,
I think we're ready
okay,
to move on. I think we're ready to move on, but I just want to. I think it's clear that we're upping the level of general recruitment and outreach and emails and things like that. But again, the final process is still eluding us, which is the actual scheduling and the actual follow through and finalizing. Okay, so let's go on to the contact verification block.
All right, this is going to be real quick.
Cool.
Nelly, Jorge, I talked about it earlier. When you send them the initial questionnaire, how much do you want to get paid? That is not an invitation. An invitation is when we say, dear so-and-so, we've accepted your offer to work for the FQN for $500 for 20 hours, whatever. That's an invitation. We're inviting them to work with us. When we just send them out, we get their email, and we send them how much do you want to get paid for them. That's the initial questionnaire. That's the initial contact when they fill out the questionnaire. So yesterday, to those people, Ann Thomas, Shale, all that, you sent them the initial questionnaire. I looked at the email, so I know what you sent them. They're not in the public ranking yet. Nobody can get a first invite.
We didn't send an invite. What we sent was just a questionnaire.
Right, but somebody filled it out, filled in these boxes with Jorge and Miguel saying first invite. We didn't make an invite. That's why I just said please take it out.
Okay, sorry, it was me.
I see what you just added, Jay, and that's great. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's
right. Until they're approved in
help.
the budget, or a second manager makes the decision to send them an invite, they don't get put into the first invite boxes. We didn't invite them. All we did was send them how much do you want to get paid. And the other thing is when you do send an invite,
it's good to know to whom we are sending the questionnaire. I think, right?
Well, the name goes in column C. Where they are goes in column E. When we send them the questionnaire, we type yes in column G. When they respond to the questionnaire, they will be on the public rankings.
Okay.
Rhonda Rivers was Rhonda Rivers. Okay, I'll go into that later. Did you send? I don't know. Did you send Rhonda Rivers an invitation to work yesterday?
No.
Okay, now, if you would have looked, you added her again.
We only send questionnaires.
Okay, so then let me get to that.
Okay.
You have Rhonda Rivers listed down here. She is the first person that me and Asif sent the questionnaire to last week. So she wasn't invited. She just has a questionnaire. So she was sent 2 questionnaires, one by me and one by you. And you need to check the list of names if you see somebody and make sure everybody's name only goes on one time. Just one time. Okay, and then we work across. Initial questionnaire, approved in budget. I just took that out. I wish it was there. First invite, second invite, third invite, final disposition. Okay, we don't put this person's name down a second time. We only put it down once. That way we know what's going on with that person. Just work across the dock, you know. So if we get something from Happy, then we can say, you know, and she's approved, it'll go here, right? Because somebody sent her out, you know. Or if we get something from Ann Thomas and she gets approved, then we'll send her an invite. Okay? And that's where we are. As far as you're writing possibly who, Jay? The Lufataba, Pentagrammager, those are the ones these are the ones that Joyce and Albino and Lucy sent out without asking the other day. That we talked about at the Sonic session that we managed to fit into the budget. Just so you know by who. That's what a lot of those are. As you know, as far as Monty was approved by who, Jay? You?
Monty,
Jay?
Monty was approved
Jay?
by
We're having 15 minutes
sorry,
on
Monty
this
was
topic.
approved by
15 or 20.
Andromeda slash oh no, not Andromeda, Sonic slash Austrasia.
Okay. Just, you know, I know some of them, I know they were approved, you know. So and that's, you know, but as far as the other ones, some of these weren't approved. I already spoke to the people from the Central Asia because they sent out 4 invitations the other night. And I explained to them that it's one invitation for all the city managers here. It's one invitation pending approval by a main session. One invitation. You can't send 4 in a day. One invitation at a time pending approval. Once that one gets approved and it's in the budget, if you still have money for more, then you can approve one other one temporarily. But until they get approved, a senior manager can make one invitation without, you know, if it fits in their budget or in whatever budget they're working in, because you can invite from anywhere. If it fits in the budget, which means you have to go to the budget doc, open it, go to the recruitment budget, see how much money is available, and see if that person fits in the recruitment budget for whatever sector you're sending for. If it does, you can temporarily approve the person and send an invitation pending a main session review. Does everybody understand?
Quick question: Should the budget documents be linked on this new spreadsheet so we can?
No, we have a recruitment process doc, and people are supposed to use the recruitment process doc. That's been around for a long time. It's not like we have them for months saying the person has to fit in the recruitment budget. I mean, this isn't the only thing new here is putting it on this doc. As far as them fitting in the recruitment budget, that has been since we said that a senior manager can approve somebody. It's always been if they fit in the budget. That has nothing to do with this doc. If you want to link that here, maybe I can find a way to do it. But you know, I mean,
well, we have another topic is to go through the budget creation process again. So let's move on. Are we good on the contact verification log? Is there any other questions about that?
The only other thing is when you do an invite. The only other thing I want to say is when you do an invite, please, like Nelly put on November 2nd. You know, put a date down so we don't send somebody an invite on the 28th and another invite on the 29th because we want to have a week between invites or however many days we said, so please put a date down when you invite somebody. Not on the questionnaire, but when you invite somebody. All right?
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, come on, Jay, be nice. Me and Nelly actually used the Celine date when we did it on the 27th.
I love it, man. But I love it. I've seen Celine dates
I knew you
all
would.
over the place.
I got it, but you made my date column smaller, so now there's no room to put the Celine button date.
Yeah,
You know.
well, the date isn't as important. It's more important within the actual, columns themselves. So you can track the dates over time. Yeah. All right. So I think we're ready to move on. Unless there's any other questions on the verification log, I think we're ready to go into priority recruits.
Okay.
Okay. So are we all? Is that good? We're good to move on. Okay. So the first thing.
We have been for 20 minutes on this topic.
Well, there was only 3 to 5 minutes. So the contact verification log was 3 to 5 minutes. Like the timekeeping, you need to be like on it. Like, I mean, for the established list of priority recruits, you have 5 minutes for that. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, and it is good to track the overall, which we have 30 minutes overall. And so we're at 20 minutes. The goal is to be done with all of recruitment within the next 10 minutes. Okay? So thank you for keeping track of that, Jorge. All right, so the quickly to get started with the priority recruits, let's review what it is that we need to accomplish for preventing the hard stop rate. So the first one is the 180-degree sextant is number 1. All right, and then the next component is the 120-degree sextant, I think local SFA might be number 2. I can't remember. 120-degree west sextant. And then this is general. So, and then there's also 60-degree west sextant, but I think this is like pretty good, right? Because we have Nelly, Steve, other people who are doing the senior manager shifts for 60-degree west sextant, so I'm not too worried about this. This is the least priority. Right? Are we all on the same page? Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Sounds right.
We have Steve, Nelly, etc., etc. Okay. So let's start with 180-degree sextant. So Monty is the only one I know about. Does anyone know about anyone else?
There were 2 others sent. And I guess
What do you mean by
closed that
sent?
docket.
What was sent?
They were sent. Hold on. I got it. Leah is in the 180. She was sent by Nelly on November 2nd, an invitation, and by Joyce on November 28th. And Jacinta is in the 180 West. She was sent by Nelly on the 2nd and Joyce on the 28th. Invited.
Okay, so what was the second one?
We have Jacinta and Leah.
So Leah and Jacinta. Where's Jacinta?
And they are on the public rankings. Yeah. Those are the ones that I got annoyed when Sonic didn't send them out when I asked them to the other night. But they did get sent out by Joyce.
Okay, so have we heard anything from Leah or Jacinta?
No, not as far as I can tell. So I haven't seen anything in the emails.
Contact yet. So I would say Monty is still the highest priority because she said she wanted to join but was busy for a week. But then we just never heard from her again. So she said.
I had Joyce, and I told Joyce what to put in her email that hi Monty, we're still really interested in you joining us. Please feel free to join us at any of our sections. And I had Joyce link the scheduling doc. So, with the listed main schedules and when all the sections are that they're using. So supposedly it went out just like that.
Okay, and this is all. Leah and Jacinta are both Hawaii, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we still have gotten nothing from Alaska or anything else.
No.
Okay, so.
And I know I posted on the Alaska, on a couple of Alaska sites myself in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I don't know what's going on. I'm just sending them.
I mean, it just might
Give
be
me
that.
a minute. I'll be back.
Okay, it just might be that Alaska is just more difficult, or they don't use Craigslist.
Yeah,
as much,
I want to look for some boards in Juneau, which is a little bigger city. It's maybe we can get luckier there. Tomorrow I'm gonna look for some posting boards in Juneau.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, I was also checking, but the one thing over there is that they're like the working industry is based only on fishing, and I didn't see like much of jobs posted.
Okay, that's not in the cities. You do have real cities like Anchorage and Juneau and everything else, which are regular cities like anywhere else. But in the majority of the country, I have relatives who live there for a while, so I've been there to visit. In the majority of the country, in the outback, it is hunting, fishing, trapping, stuff like that. But you do have like 4 or 5 big cities, though, that are cities like anywhere else.
So anyway, so that's regarding the outreach. So getting focused on the actual recruits, I would say that it's fine to focus on Hawaii. If we can get people from Hawaii, we're good to go. So the question,
we're almost 5 minutes on this topic.
Okay.
Well, we're not focusing on that. We might need to focus on is New Zealand.
Well, New Zealand's another problem. But again, the purpose of this topic is not to talk about outreach and promotions. Does everyone understand that?
All right.
The purpose of the topic is to talk about the people we already have. Therefore, there's no outreach to do. We already have them.
Right.
Okay. And the first thing I want to mention is, right, email is one option. For most of these people, we have email, phone number, Skype address, Facebook. We have all of these ways to contact them, and then all we do is send them an email. So it's like, I personally think, and this is a strategic, differentiation. Like, I personally think it's our responsibility to recruit these people. I don't think it is their responsibility to want to get involved, right? Like, eventually the goal is that we have more people clamoring to be working with us than we can even hire, and people are willing to work for, just equity and tokens. But right now we don't have that, right? And remember, Hawaii in the 180-degree sextant is the smallest pool of people in the entire, all the sextants, right? There's very, very, very few people in these islands and parts of Alaska and stuff like that, right? And it's because the Pacific Ocean is huge and vast, and there just isn't people, right? So we need to find people. So that's one thing, is I think we need to take more proactive approach and maybe, call them, Skype them, Facebook, whatever we need to do to get in touch with them. The second thing that I would say is I think we should consider, incentivizing. Like, if we really want to not have the hard stop at the full moon, like, maybe we should consider paying Monty more money and just increasing her rate and be like, hey, if you're willing to start this week, we're willing to pay you this much more. So those are the two things for me, like really putting much more proactive effort on contacting these people.
I have some feelings on that personally.
Okay, let's hear it.
I know that the idea of being worldwide and having somebody in every sector really is what we're trying to do. But are we willing to bribe people to come to work for us? We're going to pay you more than anyone else because we want to fill your sector.
Well,
is that really where we want to go as an organization? That since you live, since you live in Alaska and nobody there from there is, we'll take you one person to do a shift and we'll pay you more than we pay anyone else just because you live in Alaska. Well, if that's the case, then you need to get more because you live in LA, in San Francisco, and it's Hawaii, and I need to get more because I live in New York. Is that the right idea to pay people because of where they live? We're going to give them an incentive to come work.
I think it's just basic supply and demand, right? It's like, if you're in the United States, we have to pay people more money in the United States because it costs more money to live. I feel like in places like in the middle of the Pacific Ocean for the 180-degree sextant, because there's so few people, right? There's just less supply. The cost to hire each person and the cost of living is just higher. So for me, it's not about bribing. It's about understanding what the going rate is, right? If we're hiring someone in the United States, we have like 300 million people, right? For Hawaii, right? In Alaska, there's like, you know, maybe a few million. I mean, it's just so few people of the supply that the cost just might be higher to actually get people to take it seriously, right? And this is all temporary. Once we can do better recruitment and get more people involved, you know, it will, you know, it's all temporary just for like a month or two while we're trying to improve our other systems. So anyways, that's just my perception of it. But I'm just saying, like, if we want to try to stop, not have the hard stop, we need to pay people the rate that they're going to take it seriously, you know, and we have the money. It's just a matter of like realizing, you know, the mainland United States may not be the most expensive place to pay people to work. But the same thing is true with you know, Asif and, you know, Miguel and Thomas and people, you know, who are working in other countries all over the world. It's like paying people in the United States is just more expensive, right? So when we're hiring someone local SFBA, it's just ridiculously expensive, and so we have to take that in account in relationship to the fact that other people living in other places is less expensive. So it's the same thing for Hawaii, possibly, you know?
Okay. I don't listen. I don't have to agree with everything. You know, I mean, I'm entitled to my opinion on it, and
For sure.
that's fine. I'll agree. You know, if the group thinks it's a good idea, I'm going to agree with it. You know, I'll go along with what everybody thinks is best. Just that was my opinion. It's still my opinion, and you know, I understand your opinion, and it's a valid opinion. It's a valid point.
I just think it's necessary because the living cost is not the same as in Mexico or in Colombia.
The living cost in Hawaii is not higher than mine. The living cost in Hawaii is not higher than mine days.
I know, but right now what we need is we have to remind all the time that we are a global network. So yes, maybe we can hire all the people in Latin America and that will be cheaper, but we need to be a global network because we are publicly accountable. So it's important to have at least one person in each sextant because it is part of what we are as community.
Like I said, you're all entitled to your opinions, and I'm entitled to mine. Nobody's saying we're not going to do it. I'm just saying I don't personally think it's the right thing to do.
Cool.
I'm not entitled to my opinion. I'm entitled to my
yeah,
opinion.
you're definitely entitled to your opinion, and we're writing it down. So let's make sure we get the notes really good on that. So the other thing, so it sounds like you're in agreement with the idea that we need to contact these people better because you didn't have any concern about that.
Yes, of course.
The other opinion that I have, because I do also have an opinion, and my opinion is that, like, we need to be paying Steve a reasonable living wage, right? And my ideal would be that you can cut down on your other jobs and you can work more with us, right? That would be ideal, right?
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. So it's like let's figure that out. Figure out how to get it into the budget. Work with. I mean, we have the money, right? We need to you know, realize that your ideal is your ideal. Right now, we're working for people's requested, right? So we want to make sure that your requested amount is reasonable for your living expenses. Maybe we could even get like a list of like what you think your general living expenses are for your Georgia, right? And we could start working that out. Yeah, let's look at that. But I mean, I feel like you are taking less money than you need, which is concerning, and I think affects some of hiring other people who may be, you know, like, as long as you're making enough money. For example, if I'm making enough money, I'm happy. I don't care if somebody in the San Francisco Bay Area is going to get paid for more than me. If we have to pay someone $3,000 a month, and I'm only getting paid, like, okay, everyone needs to understand the money that comes from the money that's in the budget for me doesn't actually go to me, right? It goes to a whole group of organizations. The money that actually goes to me personally is much less.
I need 1 minute, guys.
Okay, but the point is that if we have to pay somebody more money than they're paying me, than we pay me to get someone local, like, we just have to do it. Because it's just like, and I mean, even if you think about it realistically, I'm getting paid a couple $1,000s. I'm doing 50, 60 hours of work. No matter who we pay locally, if we hire 2 to 3, 4 people locally, at $1,000, $2,000 per person, right? So it could be easily a $5,000 month budget. I'm still going to be doing more work than all three of them combined. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so in that
Yes,
perspective, they're all going to be getting paid more money per hour than me, period. So even if they're not getting more money as far as like the actual full budget that they're getting than me, they're easily going to be making more per hour, right? That's just not even a question. Like there's no way to hire people locally in San Francisco Bay Area making less money than me. But we have to remember that our entire network is not based on upfront pay. Our network is based on tokens and equity. We're all collaboratively cooperative owners. We need to prioritize team equity and network equity and daily equity spreadsheets so that this is documented and clear to everybody, because we're not doing it yet. Right now we're doing personal equity spreadsheets, but the difference between a personal equity spreadsheet and the team equity is that personal equity just shows how much you have in your equity, right? That's pointless. It doesn't make any, it doesn't have any direct realistic valuation. The only thing that's real is how much you have in relationship to everybody else. The percentage, the relationship of your value to everyone else's in the whole pie, okay? So we need to get to that and get that all done. But bottom line, like, if the most important thing to being able to pay people living wages in these new places is, for example, let's all to just agree right now to increase, you know, Steve's pay by $1,000, you know, done. You know, it's just like Steve is more valuable than any of these other people we could possibly hire. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Like anyone we hire in any sextant, locally or anywhere, will take at least 6 months of pay, right? If not more, to even potentially be anywhere close to like the level of what Steve's working at. You know, so in this level, the skills Steve has, everything. So spending, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 on local SF Bay Area and Hawaii recruitment is nowhere as important as spending an extra $1,000 on Steve. Does that make sense?
I will work up what my Georgia needs are going to be, and then we can, since this really should happen at the Mercury session anyway, and nothing's going to change. Well, then I will work up what my needs are, and we can figure it out.
That's something that we discussed. I don't know when, but when we decided that we needed to raise the payment for Steve, and I think because we all know that it's needed because he lives in New York. It's so expensive. So I think something that we wanted to do since that moment. I don't know if the proposal went through it
was for about $300, which is appreciated. Don't get me wrong. Even though it's in what I'm working on now, it's greatly appreciated. But it still only makes me like $900, and realistically, that pays my rent and my car insurance, and that's about it. And my cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah. But bottom line, Steve, is two things. One, the amount that you have requested in your budget, we're paying you $300 above your request, right? That means you're the only person in the entire world that we are currently paying more than the requested amount, right? So that shows one thing, right? And it is only $300 more, but right, we need to update that.
Yes.
Secondly, we also potentially lost Lilia because she wasn't getting paid enough, right? So we need to.
Well, we did offer to raise her budget.
We did offer to raise her budget, but she may have disappeared for other reasons. She had family emergencies. Maybe she'll come back. But coming back to you, Steve, the other thing that's important with you, right? Everyone needs to understand that in Steve's sextant and the 60-degree sextant, he by definition will be competing with people from all over South America and Central America, blah blah blah. I mean, that's just like there's no way to get around that. So in the short term, it's perfectly fine. But in the long term, we really should set up a time, me and you, Steve, to sit down for like an hour or two, hopefully like right after the recruitment stuff, you know, sometime around the holidays, and really go over what the real important thing is getting you out of the regular budgets, right? We need to get you into running a business. We need to create a business together. We need to create our own income source that's coming in to pay your budget. and make sure that you're getting paid outside of just the normal FQN budgets, like myself, like me, Mel, Patrick. I mean, there's like 20 people who are getting paid within the FQN community network who we all bring in our own money. Okay. So, and you have more than enough ability to do that, Steve. You can write. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to help bring in money. So let's just make sure we're also putting in a space, because right now we don't have that space, which is you helping out at not just the executive level, but the ownership level of owning and coordinating a partnership or some sort of business. Okay.
Steve, and believe me, I understand what you are saying, that we need to take care of the people who are currently working, and giving it all. So I understand that part that you're saying.
That's not even what I was saying. I thank you, and I appreciate that, but that's not even what I was saying. What I was saying was, is it okay? And we're getting too long into this, and I'll talk to Jay. We'll figure that out, Jay. And what I'm saying is, do we want to make a precedent of, because we can't get people to come from an area where I do not know what the jurisdiction for Hawaii is. I know for Alaska it's low, but for the country, but whatever it is, even if it's 4,000 or 5,000, do we want to make make the fact that we're going to pay you more money because they're out on? Now, I understand Jay's point of view. There's less people there, so it's harder to get people, so we have to offer more money. I got that, and I'll work with that. I can work with that. I understand.
Sorry for interrupt, but it's the same thing, and I talk about, I don't know, it was in another session, that we need to create the status quo for this matter. I believe we are in a state of slow stop. So maybe there are some rules that we can bend because we are in that state. So maybe that will create.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to avoid the hard stop. We're trying to avoid the hard stop by getting people.
Exactly.
So let's come up with an offer for Monty to change the offer to make them offer a little more money. And we have a lot of SF local people, Jay. I don't know if you plan on contacting them or you're waiting for them. Some of whom I think have responded, and sent in there.
Okay, so let's go through that next. Okay, let's finish with 180 degrees. I mean, just so you guys know, I think this right here, what we're talking about, is the most important thing of all recruitment stuff. Right? Like recruitment doesn't happen until you go through one by one each individual person and prioritize them and work with them individually, right? So I think it's okay to spend a little extra time on this. Plus, we're also dealing with a bigger picture issue, which I think is also important, right? That's getting mixed up in this. It's actually a different topic, right? When the other topic is the fairness of pay, increasing people's pay, making sure people are getting paid fairly. All that is a whole nother topic, which we're mixing in with this, but I think it's important. So I would say we do another like 5 or 10 minutes on this. Is that anyone object?
No objections.
Okay, so let's do another 5 or 10 minutes here.
10 minutes, another 10 minutes, okay.
Okay. So the first thing I would just say, that I think is just good to get out of the way, Steve, is there a number, like, for example, to get you through into January, if you had like a little bit of savings, a little extra money, I mean, if we put it like another $1,000 towards you, Steve, to you have plenty of back pay to cover, right? The question is, what is the number that you feel like it would help you just stabilize in Georgia? Is it $1,000? Is it $2,000? I mean, what are we talking about?
Off the top of my head, I would say the rent is 4, the Wi-Fi is.
Well, but I'm not talking about the monthly. Like, we want to update your monthly rent. We want to go over your expenses and make sure that's all good.
Right, well,
but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just a one-time off payment. Not your monthly budget, totally separate. Just like a one-time payment. Might even like try to get it out of the whole back pay thing. Everything. Well, we'll just figure it out. But the point is that what would that number be to help you for the next? In addition to increasing your monthly rate.
Right now, just with the move and everything, to get me down there so that I can get down there and get settled in, with the pay that you're giving me now, probably another, I'm going to need that much, another $500. should hold me for a while, maybe at least for the month of January.
Okay,
You know,
so it sounds like we're really close to getting you paid
I'm
enough.
going to be in the Philippines. I'm going to be in the Philippines from next Thursday till the 28th. I'm coming back on the 28th. We fly to Georgia on the 3rd. So I don't, my money, how cheap everything is in the Philippines compared to me. So as long as you give me my pay that, next week or so, I'm set for the Philippines. When I come back, I have $300, $400 put away for gas and everything else. So $500 would give me money to stop in a hotel and not have to drive 17 hours to go to Georgia because I can't.
Cool.
I'll be honest.
So the
I'm
point,
sleeping in the car.
yeah.
Sleep in the car.
Yeah. So the point here is that we're almost paying you enough money to cover all your stuff, and extra $500 is like a drop in the bucket compared to the bigger picture of things, right? So like, something between $500 and $1,000. Is anyone does anyone object to the idea of figuring out a way to get Steve an extra $500 or $1,000 on top of his existing payment to make sure his move and his transition, everything works out well for him? Are there any objections to that?
No.
Okay.
So,
here's what the big thing is. Once I move, I don't have 3 jobs. I have this job. And until I go down there and find something else. If I'm not making enough from this. So that'll give that little extra money will give me time to figure out what I'm doing when I get to Georgia.
Cool. So we have everybody
that means that they're going to have a deficit on the next month's budget for his team.
Okay, so we're not making any official decision here. Okay, but the question is, are there any objections to trying to figure out how to get Steve an extra $500 or $1,000? Okay, I don't hear any objections. So now the question is how to do that. How would it affect the budget? Where could we potentially, get money from to have it affect the overall budget as little as possible? We'll figure that out later. Okay. From there.
But if I may say, in these couple of days I was watching and studying a little bit of the budgeting in FQN, and yesterday, I was watching the budget for the month, and the budget for the month in the payroll is almost 3,500, if I'm correct, and EXA is paying us a little bit less than that per month in US dollars. So we are trying now.
I think the stuff you're looking at might be a little out of date.
Well, no. But it's true.
A lot more than that.
But it's true that in general we're getting paid a little less. Like we're in the red, right? As far as our pay, our budget, as far as our budget and how much we're bringing in, we're in the red. But in the context of the money that we have, because Bitcoin is going up so much, we have money to spend. We're going to ask, EXA for more money, but we have money. Bitcoin has gone up. It's like 10,000 right now, a little less. And the bottom line here is that the problem is that we're not billing. Because we're not billing, we don't actually know exactly how much money we have. We haven't done all the accounting. And until that happens, we don't actually know exactly how much money to have, but we have enough money to pay Steve like $500,000.
Finish subject. I want to work. I know Nelly wanted to do some of the billing, and I think Albina. And I want to try to get together with you guys in the next, after sometime maybe right after the holidays, so we can really start focusing on billing.
But if I may, my end speaking, please.
Yes.
What you're talking about money, you are talking about potential money, but not real money. Because
no, I'm talking about big time real money. I'm talking about the fact that the amount of money we budget for the team budgets is just a fraction of the total budgets, right? Yeah. Plus, we have money coming in every month.
Well, it's not. It's just okay. This is something that I want to talk about to everybody understand what I'm talking about. You got potential money, yes, and you got real money. Our currency of deal is United States dollar. We get our budget. We got our payments from Bitcoin and Ether. But these items, these assets, fluctuate very hard during short periods of times. So the thing is that every single step we are going to do in budgeting must be very well planned, especially to help, like in this case, and be helpful through time. For example, right now, Bitcoin yesterday was 11,000 per Bitcoin, and right now is at 9,000. Just hours. This happened over hours. So that's one of the things that I'm working on. I have a thing for you on Saturday to show you, to tell you, and then on Monday I hope to show you. But this is very important because budgeting is essential, especially in our currency of choice, which is Ether and Bitcoin, which has very high volatility. So this is very important to continue our work and especially our payments through time.
Cool.
I explain myself?
Yes, that's very good. Very important. We should put on the next step and we should make sure we cover it in the future. It's a little bit of a tangent right now, but the most important thing that you need to understand is that all the budgeting I do, and that we do, and everything we do, it's all real, actual money. It's all real Bitcoins, real dollars, real Ether. There's no hypothetical or we only do cash budgeting, right? We do cash accounting, cash budgeting. There's no what is that called, Steve, when you do future, what is it? Accounts receivable. There's no accounts receivable involved.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to understand more and to help more.
Cool.
So that's the essential of my intervention in this point.
Okay.
I'm glad to
hear almost 10 minutes for this topic.
All right.
We are
So
like 3 minutes more.
Moving on. All I was trying to do is make sure there weren't any major objections to Steve potentially getting as much as 500, 750, whatever, right? So I think we're good on that. Next question would be, is anyone against the idea of increasing Monty's pay, or Leah or Jacinita?
I don't have anything against that. If that's gonna help us to avoid the hard stuff.
I'll go with it.
Okay, so now the question would be, let's just look them up real quick in the public rankings. So this is going to be the 180-degree sextant. It should be a nice purpley color. Here it is. All right, Jaquina, Lita, Monty. So the question is, everybody else across the world who is currently working gets their requested budget, right? Let's see what we've approved in over here. So this would be the amounts we've approved. So copy and paste. All right, and then let's actually see if we can add a column. Can I add a column?
I mean, you can't ask, when can I start? I mean,
Sorry, say again?
I wanted to start.
Ask what?
When can I start? That was what her question was in her initial questionnaire.
Whose
so
question?
I'm hoping we hear back from her soon.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm going to send them another invite.
So let's look at their ideal first of all. Okay, so ideal for Jacinta is $22.50 potentially, which is very odd. Okay, so it says $280 ideal upfront pay per month, but it says $22.50 for ideal hourly pay. So maybe she made a mistake. Maybe it's $280 per week. Some people make that mistake. So if you did $280 per week times 4, it would be more like $1,000 a month would be her ideal. Okay, so then Leah is $800 a month is her ideal for 15 hours, and we are offering her 10 hours for $650. So $650 versus $850 was what she asked for, or $800 is not a big increase.
No, $150 is not a big deal.
Not a big deal. Lauren and Monte was asking for more of a reasonable real rate, which is $2,500. Her requested was $2,000. So as far as I remember, we approved her for $1,500. Her requested was $2,000. Her ideal was $3,000. So just to kind of give a general sense here,
It also
Jacinta
requested,
could
without a
easily
doubt.
be 1,000, right? Leah could easily be 800, and Lauren Monty could easily be 2,000. So what do you guys think?
Do it.
Yeah, no objections in there. Yeah, no, we can.
All right, so let's look at what the new. Let's see what this would look like. So for let's just start with Monty. So Monty's simple. Monty, it says 2,000 for 25 hours. So this would go up to 25 hours for 2,000. And again, based on our policies, we can't change the ratio of the numbers. So we have to go with the same ratio, but we could do 25 for 2,000. Leah would be 15 for 800. According to our policies, we're not allowed to go above the ideal. So this would be 15 for 800. So if someone really makes a major problem, we wouldn't go above it. Jacinta, my recommendation on Jacinta is potentially calling her, getting in touch with her, and being like, "Hey, did you make a mistake? Right? Like, what's going on with this? Like, are you trying to do per week? If it is per week, it would be like, let's see what a requested is. So requested is $300 for, but $20 an hour at 15. So if we do $20 an hour. $20 an hour times 15 hours times 4 weeks is $1,200. Okay, so we can easily correct this because we know she wants to work $20 an hour for 15 hours. It should be $1,200, which is exactly 4 times 300. So she's just accidentally putting the weekly instead of. So this would be 150 times 4 is 600 is her lowest. So she did that correct. And then her highest would be 280, which wouldn't be correct. It would just be the 1,200 still. Okay. So that actually we could do the 2,250 times 15 times 4 is actually 1,350. So this is 1,350. Okay. So the minimum would be 1,200, and the max would be 1,350. What should we do? 1,200, 1,350.
I want to see what we actually offered them.
That is what we offered them right here. This is what we offered them right here originally. And this is the new offers, right? That we would do Jacinta at 1,200, or we could go up to 1,300. I'm fine going up to 1,300. Leah, but we could start with 1,200. I mean, 1,200 is a significant increase from 300, right?
Yeah.
Leah is 800 for 15 hours. Right, and technically that's a decrease hourly. So if we do 650 divided by 10 divided by 4, whoops, 650 divided by 10 divided by 4 is 1625 an hour, and then 800 divided by 15 divided by 4 is 13. So it's actually a decrease in the hourly rate, but it's more money. So
Can we go for 1,250 for Jacinta? 1,250.
Sorry. Say again. Here, I'm gonna double check. I'm gonna double check Leah's. So it says $13 an hour, and this is $11.50 an hour, and then this one was $10 an hour. Okay. All right. So I think that we are good. So this is the proposal. The proposal to approve increases for the 3 180-degree sextant. Okay. Are there any objections? Are there any questions?
No objections for the increase, no.
No objections, so we have agreement. All right, cool. So so now we need people who are responsible for sending out these invitations. So who's gonna be responsible for these 3 people? And remember, it doesn't just have to be a single email. You can call them, you can Facebook them, you can, I mean, come on, we gotta get in touch with these people. If you don't know how to call them, you know, get someone else to call them. You know, get me to call them. Just make sure it happens.
I think we should send them the initial email with the new amounts of money, and then follow up with a phone call or Facebook or something in like 2 days.
Okay, so can somebody please sign up to email either one or all of these people?
You can sign me up if you want.
Okay, Miguel, do you know how to do it?
George or Nelly, help.
Yeah, sure. I'll help you out.
Okay, so Jorge
Thanks,
and
George.
Miguel, are you gonna do all three?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, sure we can.
Okay,
Thanks,
excellent.
George.
All right. So we finished 180-degree sextant. So this
So
is.
can we send them all at once? Like all of them that we accepted their proposal for this, and can we send them all at once?
Well, we would
just in
send
case.
one email at a
You mean-
time, but yeah. I mean,
Are the 3 of them approved to be sent? You don't have to wait for one. Yes, they're approved by this main session. You can send them all.
All right.
It's not like it's an individual senior sector manager sending out an invitation. These 3 have been approved by a main section, and a main session can approve sending out however many they approve. All right.
yeah. So yeah,
All right.
this is how it's supposed to happen. So we just approved the budget. That's the actual budget for the recruitment budget for 180-degree sextant. Does that make sense? And it's the highest official level. The only way to get more official than what we just did is to have it actually approved by the 180-degree sextant super team, which is the Sonic team. Okay. So we're not the Sonic team, but we can make decisions on behalf of the entire global core team. So we're good to go. All right. So now let's go to the next one, which is the local SF Bay.
So what's doing with Melinda?
So Melinda would be Mel's sister, right?
Yes, that's why I asked you.
We might be able to get Mel to write us a grant. Melinda is supposedly busy for another week or two. I don't know what's going on there. But she also couldn't fill out the form, right? She wasn't able to fill out the form. Did she ever fill it out correctly?
I don't see hours. I don't see ideal time. I just see dollars. I don't see hours.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. So Melinda is just not taking it seriously enough to, we can't hire her. So maybe in another couple weeks she'll redo it. Like supposedly Mel said she was busy, but that she's still interested in helping out soon. Then there's April.
Okay.
We have April. Carla is out of
Right.
the picture. So Carla is out, but we could offer her more money. We only offered her the lowest. So we could consider offering her more money for Carla. And then just do one last effort on Carla. Be like, hey, we'll pay you more. This is what we're willing to pay you. You know. So that's the only other thing I can think of. Carla. April. Also, it's very, very low. It's very low. It's like 500.
I think she had to make a mistake.
All right, so let's check it.
Because her ideal time is lower than her lowest time, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
her
let's
ideal time
see
is lower than
April.
her
So
lowest time.
let's check April real quick. So we have 10 hours for 500. So if we go to the lowest is for April 4th. No, that's requested. So requested is 10 hours for 500, but it's $14 an hour. So when you guys are doing this stuff, you can see $14 an hour times 10 times 40 will give you a very specific number. $14 an hour times 10 times 4 is 560. So 560 would be the maximum there. $10 an hour. Oh no, $14 an hour. Yeah. Then we have $12 an hour for 300 is the lowest for 15 hours. So $12 an hour times 15 times 4 is 720.
That's right. I think she made a mistake filling it out.
Yeah, and then her ideal is 6.66 what hours? It's like what? So
Yeah, that's why I say it's wrong.
Yeah. So I don't know what to say about that. We could try to contact her and like figure that out, but
I think I sent you her contact information. Is that the one I sent you? The contact?
I have everyone's contact information. All right.
No, I think I sent you her resume or something. I don't remember. I gotta look. Hold on.
I don't know. All right. So who else do we have for local SFA? Anyone new? No one else?
There was nobody today.
No.
Okay. So I mean, I would say our only options are one, trying to work with April, you know, question mark, you know, figure something out because I don't know about that. And then other thing is option is to increase Carla, you know, and then just wait for more outreach, right?
I think first we have to work on April.
Okay, so let's start with April.
Better for her.
Okay, so April is a big problem here. So we had 400. We had, I think the highest was 720. So if we offered 720 for 15 hours, I think would technically work. So right now we offered her, so April is currently 10 hours for 500. So let's see what it works out to. So if we do 750 divided by 15 divided by 4 is $12.50 an hour. But it says somewhere here, I remember seeing $14 an hour. So $14 an hour, and we have $12 an hour, and then we have $15 an hour. So let's say we did $15 an hour times, what was the maximum? 15 hours?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's see what that would equal. $15 an hour times 15 times 4 is $900 for 15 hours. That seems a little more reasonable. And that would give her $15 an hour. At least, you know. And again, this is her base rate. If she gets work done, she can get bonuses. So that's one proposal. Is anyone against offering April $900 a month for 15 hours?
No objections, no.
No objection for that.
I think it's reasonable now.
Okay, so maybe she'll take it more seriously if we do that. So this is proposal for April, increase to April, and that is
No, forget it. I'm sorry. Forget it.
All right, and so this
Does
is
Unity forward to the Google group, Jay?
Unity. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. So yeah, Jorge, when you send that email to Unity, please CC it to the right place so we don't get it in the Google group. That's why I had to go into the American Community Network email and forward them myself today to get them into the grouping, onto the grouping doc.
We always CC to Unity.
Yeah, Unity doesn't go to the Google group.
So you also want it on the Google group? Okay.
It happens. All recruitment email has to go. Any recruitment has to be CC'd to the recruits at FQN.mo or to Unity or straight to the FQN Google group. Otherwise, we don't see them and we don't know what's going on. All right. Thank you. That's what I forgot to mention before. Got to forward to the Google group. I gave it to Miguel. He knows what to say.
I got the emails, George. I will give it to you. I got a picture. If we can post it in the Andromeda main session if you want. Jay?
You're doing recruitment. I guess you can do that. Yeah.
Okay, I will paste it then.
Cool. All right, so I updated April's with all the new numbers. And yeah, so let's get everybody. Remember, the most important place to update when you're sending all the information is the status column X of the public rankings. This is where you want to, update the status. So here we could say increased rate, right? Active public ranking. So then it would be like who's responsible for sending something to to April. Then we also have responsibility here. So this is Jorge and Miguel, okay? This is the most official place to update this information. So who's responsible for April?
I send the invitation.
Me and Steve.
Cool.
I sent
Also,
invitation to.
Okay.
so Steve and Nelly, is that what I heard?
That's fine.
I sent invitation to April.
No.
I don't know if
No,
someone else did.
we just changed the offer to April. We need to resend it to her and see if she'll take it more seriously. It's up to April to take it seriously enough to call me. If she doesn't call me,
Okay.
you guys need to bug the hell out of me to get me to call her, because I don't know what else to do there, you know? Like it's like she gets
Okay.
paid to call and to get involved and to do it. So like that's what we're asking her to do, is to step up and, you know, start scheduling and getting over here. So you guys need to help her get connected with me. So and the good thing with April is that she did actually contact us. So I
can help you in bugging you. You know, I can help you.
Yeah, bug me, bug April. Like, I mean, April sent, okay, look, I got from April, hi April, let's check in soon. She sent me, hi, I do have a car and a laptop. Also, I'm in Oakland. The pay amount is correct. So she confirmed the pay amount of $500 a month for 14 hours of work per week. Okay, let's check that out real quick. 500 divided by 14 divided by 4 is, it's less than minimum wage. I don't even know if it's legal. Okay, so I think we made a mistake.
Well, you make it illegal, so are you.
Say again.
Well, you make it illegal, probably either.
Well, but I'm it's all legal because it's contracting. We're not paying people employee wages, but I'm also getting, we're all getting ownership stuff, so we're actually getting paid more because we're all getting equity and tokens and back value. But anyways, the point is that this amount is she should be much happier with getting $900 a month for 15 hours of work per week. Send her that information. Get her to call me. Get her to email me. Just she has to take the initiative, right? And if she doesn't feel like $500 is enough to take initiative, we're offering her $900. Hopefully that'll help. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the next one is the only other one that we have as an option is Carla. Do we want to consider increasing Carla's rate?
But we already agreed that that was like enough, the 2,000.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, if people don't want to increase Carla's, then I think we're done with Carla, right? It's fine. She's not interested.
Yeah.
And she's saying that she wants $2,000 a month for 20 hours. Was the offer that we offered her, and she changed it to her requested is now $5,000 a month. She wants 25 hours, and then her ideal is $6,000 a month. Yeah. So, anyways, it's high. So I think it's fine just to be done with her. She's ranked really low as well. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete the old one. We have the new one there. So there's just one. Okay, good. Also, the other thing that's important to note is that for all this stuff, when you bold it, means that it's approved in the budget. Okay.
Okay.
So we also have.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it on this stuff. Obviously, there's more that we have Masuma, we have Eva, Elizabeth, Natalia, all these other people who are possibilities, but they just haven't gotten in touch with us. There's also Jason, right? Jason's also local, and August is local, but they want low enough amounts of money that they are possible for the entire 120-degree sextant, like myself. So these are other things that we could consider paying them more. And Isaac is obviously not bold. So when someone's bolded, it means that they've been approved in the budget. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
These two right here is a problem right here. These blue ones, they're not obviously not in the right place. Like something's wrong. If they're blue, 60 degrees east, they should be gray. 60 degrees west. Yeah. Anyways, we just want to make sure that we get everything organized. So I think that we're done, and then there's 120 degrees west sextant. I don't know. We could keep going on and on with this stuff, but it almost makes more sense to break up into buddy teams and do it. So I think we're pretty good. What's up with 120 degrees sextant?
I mean, I will say that a real effort has been being made in the past week, you know, or so. And once we realize we want to slow stop to get recruitment going. It's just getting these people to respond that's a little harder.
Cool. All right. One of the issues that we do need to go through, I'm not sure it's been done yet, is that everybody who's in Mexico who hasn't chosen to stay in the 60 degree west is automatically in 120 degree east. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
yeah,
so there might be a problem there because it's just like, you know, maybe we need to do more updating because I don't see anything else. It's just like these people. They're all in. There's one in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Yeah, and then where's Paula? In Colombia, right?
Yeah, she's here, but she sent me a message. She will not be able to come because she's having problems with her computer. She didn't know what happened. Also, we are having problems with her communication last time. Supposedly, she's fixing that.
All right, so this would be 60 degrees west. We have Paula, and she's having problems with connection. All right, well, we're gonna have that a lot, so we just need to help her out, see if she can get her connection fixed. So 120 degree west sextant seems to be a problem. Seem to not have a lot of options. I mean, we should be able to get tons of people from Mexico.
Yeah, I think we have received information, but we haven't we haven't sent them the questionnaire yet. But we have received from Colombia and from Mexico.
And how's Outsourcely doing? Because we do get Outsourcely from Mexico.
I checked it a few days ago. Has anybody checked Outsourcely lately?
Okay, it looks pretty good. There's only 2 chats and 1 application. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So we might want to do another post. Like we even just post just for Mexico with Outsourcely. So that could be something we could do. Just do an Outsourcely Mexico only post. Anyways. I mean, for me, that seems like one of the issues is just we're just not really organized on the public rankings. So we need to update the public rankings. Does anyone want to sign up to update the public rankings?
I said I need help with.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we have been working little by little, but we need to focus more on that. Definitely.
Yeah, so we just want to make sure that the 60 degree west and 120 degree west are correctly organized, right? Because right now it just seems like it just isn't correct. Like there should be other people from like the United States as well as Mexico who are in the 120 degree west sextant. Right now they're not. So we need to go through the entire 60 degree west sextant and fix it all. All right, so let's go on to discuss your questions, Steve. Let's address your questions real quick.
What was my question?
And what is all this? For recruitment, note added 30th November that added the public rankings automatically. I'm not sure what that is. Is that something?
I explained to him that we don't add into the public rankings. The public rankings are generated by the form that we send out, that how much you want to get paid for them. And I told him where he needs to CC any emails too. So I don't know how he can put it on like that, but that's,
Okay, so so what about the calculations for ranking for making the budget? Do you want to go through that?
Sure. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, so we have some people on there that, like people that need to get put into it anyway, that need to get I wouldn't mind if you go through it step by step.
Okay, cool. So I mean, the fact that we don't have any specific people to recruit for 120 degree west sextant is concerning. I would focus on, Jason, possibly August as well.
We sent them already like 3 invitations.
All right, well, maybe not. I mean, we just should figure something out there. But anyway, let's go on to calculations for ranking and making the budget.
Okay.
All right.
So what's the question, Steve?
Exactly. How do you get people to go into the rankings in the right place?
Okay, so let's say everything was correctly organized, right?
All right.
If we were going to do, okay, there's two types, right? The first type is this would be the ranking score, right? Ranking score, right? So you go in here and you would say short sheet A to Z. Heads up, the spreadsheet is currently being used. Okay, so now you have everything ranked by their score, right?
Okay.
Then you would go ahead and sort by sextant. And then if, obviously this one is incorrect. 60 degree west by itself obviously doesn't make any sense, right? 120 degree east by itself doesn't make any sense. 120 west, 120 west, 120 east, right? So there's problems, right? In the actual log. Sometimes you have to copy and paste it correctly. So if we go to 120 west, I copy this. And sometimes just like a little tiny space or something, or a font is different. And then 60 degree west. Where's 60 degree west? Change that one. And then we had 60 degrees east. So why are these 60 degrees east by themselves? So I'm just going to copy this and go like that. So it's just changing. There's just a little tiny bit difference, okay? And then I resort. Right. And then so then if I'm going to do it again, I have to resort again the score, because otherwise it won't rank them properly. So I resort the score again. And then I resort by sextant. And then that should be correct. So then the top ones, we have 0 degree sextant. So these are all sorted by the ranking, right, of the ranking score in the sextant, right? Then we have 120 degree east. All the rankings for 120 degree east.
All the Filipinos.
Here's all the 120 degree west and ranked correctly. 120 degree west local SFA, all ranked correctly. 180 degrees, right? So for example, let's take 60 degrees west for, wait, why is there only these few tiny numbers? Okay, so 60 degrees west obviously has a problem. What's this one? These don't have anything. Bogota, Colombia, Menlo Park, Long Beach, California. I love it. So Claire and Menlo Park, why are we not addressing Claire and Menlo Park?
You knew she came in like an hour ago.
Well, let's address her, shall we?
Where's Menlo Park? Menlo Park is local?
Of course it's local. So guys, like, we have, I mean, this is where it comes into our new policy on like getting people working, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have 7, 8 of us or whatever. Like, Steve brought up over an hour ago that we have a new person and everyone just ignored it. No one did anything. Like, how are we supposed to react to that? I mean, my reaction is just like, anyone who's not working, done, leave. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're not working right now, you're sitting here listening, doing nothing. You're not required in this meeting. We're going towards a hard stop. You're done. It's like, come back another time. You guys understand what I'm trying to say? Like, there's no reason that people should just be sitting here looking at us when we have work to do. Like Claire, like good. See, now people are starting to do it. Yeah, there we go. You guys understanding me?
Yes.
Does anyone else think it's appropriate to just sit here and listen when there's a hard stop looming? Good. Okay, so we're all on the same page. So Everyone should be doing something. If you don't have something to do, then figure it out or stop, and leave. Okay, so so all of these need to be updated and be ranked and be put in the correct sextant, right? So that we can get them all in the right place. So all of this needs to be filled out. It needs to be filled out immediately, right? That's what we're here to do. Okay, so and then the other problem was that the 60 degrees west sextant wasn't correct. So there was a couple stragglers. Here they are. All right, that's fixed. Okay, so can we get these all taken care of?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
And then we're gonna reorganize, and then we'll go through a budget process. So this one is 120 degrees west, local SF Bay. Crystal is Long Beach, so that would be 120 degrees west without SF Bay.
Yeah, somebody said to me when they said, "Oh, that's a local," and you have to drive 7 hours to get to J.
Yeah, definitely not local on that one. And then we can also color them correctly. So that's why we do the colorings. Hey, does anyone here not know how to do the colorings? So it's like, why are the colorings not getting done? If everyone knows how to do the colorings, then they should be getting done. All right, what's this one?
I think the hours are
60
ready.
degree west. So this one also should
Yeah,
be.
I'm not
yellow.
missing anything, so it's ready.
Well, what about the
Oh,
colors?
I'm missing. Oh.
The most important thing is
So-
getting the actual sextant. Bogota, Colombia, so that'd be
Okay.
60 degrees west. And then we want to get the colors.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone here not know how to do the colors?
Claire,
Yeah, I don't know.
Pink.
Okay, so you just click
We
on
do,
you
yeah.
click on the color
It's
key,
on the bottom.
color
color
key, and
key
it
is on
tells
the
you all the colors. All right, cool. All right, so then this
Thomas,
one's
on the
supposed to be
public
60
ranking,
degrees.
it is, the color key is also there in the right, in the very right of the key.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to do the whole rankings again, and this should include everybody. Wait, let's just double check to make sure we had all the rankings correct. Yes, you see how you can see all the rankings, so they're all correct. Okay, so then this should include everybody now, including all the new people. So we go to sort all the rankings, and then we go ahead and organize by sextant, and it should all be correct. So this is just simple work that anyone can do just to make sure everything's organized.
All right, now I see how to do it, though. I'm happy. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
All right, so let's start with 6 degrees.
Why is Mauricio bright blue? That's the only question I have.
Mauricio bright blue, because we don't know what's going on with him. So he was hired, but now he's inactive, so
Should we do the same thing with Lilia? What do you want to
not
know?
active anymore. So not active anymore is the status, but he's still in the active public rankings. Okay. Lilia, I don't know, no response. It's red. So maybe we should say
I've done every possible way I can
We
think of
don't
to
know
get.
anything
Yeah.
about her.
But as far as I know,
I've emailed
Mauricio,
her,
I think we
talked to her.
took. My understanding is we took
As far as I
Mauricio
know,
out
as
of the
far as I
budget.
know, she was looking for another job because she needed the money. That's the only thing I knew.
I emailed her with the new budget, with the new amount. I Skyped her with the new amount. I asked her to just let us know if she's okay.
Yeah, she mentioned something about being paid on like in a regular basis. So
Oh, she wants
Yeah,
to
so
get
she's-
paid weekly, and our payroll sucks, right? So
yeah,
maybe we lost.
yeah,
Maybe we lost
she
Lilia
was-
because we don't do the payroll. That
Yeah,
might be why we lost.
I
her.
know that she was looking to get paid weekly, and
Yeah.
she was not. I thought she was like unhappy because of that, or
Yeah.
or well, because she needed the money.
I mean, I think that's perfectly
I
reasonable.
mean, to be honest,
I think that's
our
perfectly
weekly
reasonable.
payroll is abysmal. It's abysmal.
I mean, our normal payroll is abysmal, right? So
We need to step up on this, and I know Nelly plans on doing it.
It's not prioritized. It's not ever done.
yeah, it just doesn't get
It's
prioritized.
also
Oh,
our responsibility to prioritize it.
I actually have a proposal. Let me just bring this new proposal up really quick. Proposal. The people who do and prioritize payroll must be the last people paid. So basically, the idea,
I mean, the way that I usually do payroll is I never pay myself first. I always pay myself last, right? And then in addition to that, whoever prioritizes payroll, you know, I basically give them the idea that, okay, if you prioritize payroll and you come and you help it out, then you can get paid first, right? But the problem is that every time someone needs to get paid and they come and they want to prioritize payroll and work on it, we pay them and then they could care less afterwards because they got paid, right? So the idea here in this proposal would be that our new payroll policy is that if you want to get paid and you want to help out and prioritize payroll, you have to be the last person paid. And then that'll
nobody's gonna
keep,
want to prioritize it. Nobody's gonna want to do it, Jay.
Then no one will get paid. No one will get paid if it's not prioritized. No, but why is that true, Steve? Why would people not want to get paid? I don't understand. I don't think it's correct assumption.
Just a reminder, it's 10 minutes for this
Our
topic.
payroll process takes 2 or 3 days with the amount of money we have in the bank. And
But
I
that's
think they
because
paid a few
people
of these.
don't prioritize payroll and we don't deal with the credit cards and we don't get the money in the correct accounts because it's not prioritized. You understand?
All right.
If
Yeah,
we
I
prioritize
understand.
payroll, we'd be able to pay everybody very quickly, but it's not prioritized.
I wanted to help you in this matter. If that needs to, I get paid and last, I will do it. I don't care.
Exactly. If
I
people
want
want to get paid, it doesn't matter if they get paid last. It's just the policy that keeps people engaged. So I think you're actually, I'm not sure what your rationale is there, Steve. I think that making people get paid last is actually will ensure that the payroll gets done because otherwise they don't get paid.
Jay,
Okay.
I think that before saying who will prioritize it and who wasn't and who won't, because at the end we all end up doing it and it doesn't matter who gets paid first. So the real matter here
But I think it actually does,
we need
though.
to do. Yeah, the real thing here is the real matter is that we need to know how to do a proper preparation for the payroll because we are not doing it because we
Okay.
don't know how to do it properly, and I think that's important. And I think that hold on, Steve. And I think that if we know exactly how to do it properly, like with the bonuses and everything, we are going to do a payroll very, very quick. It's going to be a matter of sending the money to one card to another card and sending the money to people.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, I think it's
I think
I
the
think it's a
problem
little
here
more
is that
complicated
we
than that.
haven't. Yeah.
I think it's a little more complicated than that, but I agree. So we have that on our agenda. So let's go ahead and go back to the budgets, and we'll get back to in the recruitment, and we'll get back to the payroll stuff in just a minute. Okay. Okay. So finishing up with the budget. So we have 100. We have 60 degree west. 60 degree west. Steve is at the top of the 60 degree west rankings currently. I think part of that is just because it hasn't his ranking hasn't been updated. Like, you know, this is another responsibility that needs to be addressed, right? Is update the current team public information.
We also
current
in public
budget.
rankings we need to update the jurisdiction because I don't know who wrote that somebody in Mexico jurisdiction is 6,000 or 7,000.
That was something else. Yeah.
I don't know who did that, but we need to correct all the jurisdiction of all the people according to what they mentioned on the jurisdiction questionnaire.
Okay, so just to remind people, the public rankings now includes many levels and layers of rankings. Okay, so it's a much more complicated document, and that includes all this stuff over here, like AA, AB, AC, AD, AF. So the jurisdiction for AD actually should have nothing to do with the recruitment budget process. It only has to do with the actual money per hour rankings and the relative money per hour jurisdictional rankings. And so it shouldn't actually affect the recruitment budget. Okay.
I know, but still we need to have the correct information.
Yes, I agree. We have to have the correct information. Let's get that set up, and yeah, we're good. And it does affect it affects the public budget. So we use the actual money per hour ranking when we're creating the monthly budget of who fits in the public budget or not. Okay. All right. So
Steve's number 1 currently. Then we have Guillermo, Lufate, Pentagrama, David Smith, and Junior. Okay, they're all part of the active rankings. Technically, what that means, according to our policies, is that nobody beyond that should be getting paid, should be being invited. Okay, so this would be, so this is inactive was working, not sure. So yeah, so basically the only way to invite someone beyond this would be to go through invite all these people, confirm that they're not active and did not respond, and then change their rankings from active to, you know, last final response. Well, you need to do last final response, and then you would do inactive, right? Inactive, final, no response, and then it would be removed. And so you have some people that are removed, right? So all of these people down here, like nobody, like for example, Paula, right? Whoever invited Paula, Paula is about 20 people down on the rankings, right? So it's against policy to invite anybody who's not the next person on the rankings. Does that make sense? So you can't just like skip ahead and invite whoever the hell you want to for whatever reason, right? That's that completely, you know, is against the policies of why we even have the public rankings in the first place. Does that make sense? So it's like, why do we invite Paula but we don't invite Monique, and we don't invite all these other people, right? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so you invite these people first because they should fit into. I thought we even approved this budget and everything. Didn't we approve this budget?
We need to update the rankings because we already invited Monique. We already invited David Smith, and all those that are under Steve, but we haven't received any response from them. So
well, if they're not getting responses, like, so for example, if Guillermo didn't respond and you did a final inactive, final no response, you would just go like that, you know? Are we ready?
Monique, we actually sent her like 4 invitations for more and never responded. So.
Who's her?
Yeah.
Who's her?
Monique.
Monique. Why are we talking about Monique? Where's Monique? Who's Monique?
You mentioned it, Monique. That's
Monique Davis. Oh, yeah. There she is.
Which line?
226.
Okay, so 226. The reason I mentioned Monique is because she's so far down in the list, she should not be being invited. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So we shouldn't even be focusing on Monique.
We invite the people above. We go from above to the bottom. So that's how we invite.
But we don't.
People.
We don't do that. That's not what's happening. That's against the policies. No, that's what we want to change. Like, we all need to acknowledge that we're not doing that.
Well, I really don't know who is doing that. But the way we always do it, at least in the Andromeda team, train people to do in the Andromeda team, is go above to the bottom.
Sure, but if people can't even organize the freaking, you know, list of rankings and people are sending out invitations, we're not doing it. So, I mean, it's great that you think you're not doing it, Nelly, but I don't even want to get into whether or not you're not doing it. The point is, it's not happening in general, and so it's everybody's problem. Okay?
I understand.
So to say that it's that we're doing it perfectly in the Andromeda team is just not the case. Right? And I don't care whether it's you or other people. It's just the fact that it's just not happening is a problem for all of us. There's no need to even address who is doing it and who's not doing it. It's all of us. We're all responsible, period. Okay? So getting back, yeah. So getting back to the actual creation of the budget, you would just sum up the total. This would include Steve, so it's obviously too high, right? And then I would go ahead and do it without Steve because Steve doesn't need to be included, and it would be 1530, right? So this
which is what we figured out last time.
Yeah, we figured it out last time.
That 1530.
Yeah,
we approved the 1530,
and we approved the 1530. So when we did that, did anyone resend all of these people invitations?
I I know the Fonte and Pentagramma were for sure. It's open. I know the Fonte and Pentagramma were for sure.
And you guys emailed and made sure that we understood that they needed to be publicly accountable.
I asked that to be done, and
All right,
I
cool.
saw something that said more information sent.
All right. So did anyone send something to Guillermo? All right. So I don't know about Guillermo, but the point is that, you know, unless we all feel like they got their last, unless we feel like they're inactive and that we haven't responded and that we're ready to put them on inactive final notice, right? Final response, then they're just all part of the active ranking. So the process is very simple. You send them an invitation. If they don't respond, then they go to inactive final no response after 2 invitations, and then you send them one last invitation, and then they can be removed. And then you would just go down the list after you're removing people. And I mean, this is just like months and months and months ago. It's nothing new. So,
all right, yeah, that was my question. When can we remove them after the last message we sent them? Then we remove them. Okay.
But it's not that you only a senior manager or a group team can remove them from the public rankings. So us as a group, if we want to remove some of the rankings, we have to vote on it and remove them from the rankings. And a senior manager can basically remove one person at a time. Does that make sense? But we as a team can remove as many people as we want to from the public rankings. We have to agree to it because it basically means that they're being bypassed and will no longer be able to join the team.
All right.
So does that answer your question, Steve? Do you want me to do another one?
I got it. I know how to rank now. Okay. We do by the, I got it. Okay. I think I just hadn't been paying attention every time we did it. I was doing other things with reading, you know. We do it by the ranking score, then we do it by the sectors. And if we correct anything, we got to go back and do it by the ranking score again, and then by the sectors again. That's it.
Yep.
Okay, no problem. Got it now.
So let's see. Crystal Anthony just from Long Beach, $2,000. So why is she ranked so high? I guess she's not really ranked that high. Okay, so I mean, I feel like we should wait a little bit on the 120 degree west because I just know that there is a bunch of people from like Mexico and other things that should be ranking higher than paying someone $2,000 a month. Wait, no, what is she asking for? Oh, that's her ideal. She said she'd be willing to do $800 for 25 hours.
That ain't bad.
Requested $400 for 10 hours. So that would be, so her requested and her lowest are switched. Does that, you guys everyone see that? So if she put 25 hours for 800, right? And then she has 10 hours for 400. The 10 for 400 is supposed to be the lowest. Okay. All right. So anyways, I think we should go ahead and stop this part, but I do want to address this new person. Who was it? We just had a new person for Menlo Park. Why do I not see it? Is this Claire? This is it, Claire.
We just ranked her.
Yeah, it's here. I found it. It's Claire. Okay, yeah. So it's very, very high. But let's see what it looks like. So the lowest is 10 hours for $1,800. It's $45 an hour. 2,500 for 20 hours, $31 an hour. So the proposal would be Claire, 20 hours for 25,000. So we go up here. Claire, 20 hours for 20. And then as far as the rankings, I mean, this is like removed, right? Does anyone object to me removing Happy from the rankings?
No objections.
And that's because they didn't fill it out properly. April's still not
No,
active.
he didn't.
Masuma,
We sent him an email to fill
Fill it
it
out again.
out properly, but he hasn't answered. So
so then Masuma, Natalia, Eva, Elizabeth, do we want to remove all of these people from the rankings?
How many
Yes.
times were they sent?
Yes.
Yes.
All sent multiple times? Okay.
Do we want to do maybe one last one? Like I would say that if we do it correctly, it would be we do inactive, final, no response, and this is like their last chance, and then that's that. So do we want to do that for these, or do we want to just remove them? Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
I'm saying that we should try last time.
Yeah, the static back testing.
Okay, we could potentially try increasing the rates. Should we try increasing their rates and then sending them one last time?
No objections for that. Yeah, we can increase and send them one last time.
So what do you guys think about Claire? 20 hours for $2,500.
If she's local, yeah, it's okay.
She's local help. I have no problem paying local help to for you whatever we got to pay him. For that,
Okay.
I mean, I have no problem with that.
All right, so let's see what this looks like. Let's start with Masuma. So wait, we have agreement on this. So let's put that one green. Done. Then we're going to look at Masuma. Masuma, for the requested is, that's lowest. Requested is
There's something wrong with the ideal hourly up front
for Masuma.
pay. It says $2.
For Masuma, it says 1,200.
Yep.
Ideal 1,200 for
No,
10.
the next column H.
$2 an hour.
Column
Yeah, well, that's we can ignore that. I mean, you can obviously see it's 1,200 for 10 hours, and you can calculate that out
Right.
exactly. So 1,200 divided by 10 hours divided by 4 is $30 an hour. So that should be 30.
Thank you. I just noticed that it was wrong. That's all.
Uh-huh. So then Masuma, and Masuma's like an artist. I did talk to Masuma. She's like an artist, and she wasn't super duper reliable. But it's 10 hours for $1,200.
Profiling, Jay. Profiling.
Well, I'm just saying that she didn't seem particularly interested, but maybe if we offer her twice as much money, maybe she'll be more interested. So it would be 10 hours for $1,200. What do you guys think?
If it gets you help, I'll pay anything.
Okay, yeah.
Are there any
I
objections?
mean,
to
if
10 hours,
this is
1,200?
local, we yeah, it's no problem.
All right, so we have agreement on that. Then we would do Natalia. So Natalia, her requested was, request the lowest, requested is 15 hours for 900. And we have here 10 for 600. So it would be 15 for 900. Any objections?
No objections. That's basically what you're paying me now. So that's fine. I mean,
Eva, let's see what Eva's is. Requested is 800 for 22.5 hours. So it'd be 22.5 for 800, which actually in some ways is a reduction of her pay. But what are you gonna do? Anyone object to that?
Everything is in the budget, right?
Well, we're going to figure that out. We haven't done the budget yet. First, we have to get the proposals for each person, and then we figure out the budget. Does that make sense? So last one is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is 15 hours for 800. So 15 for 800 is what we already offered to Elizabeth. So let's look at her ideal. Her ideal is 30 hours for 1,000. Well, that's not
So
right.
that's doubling your hours for $200. I mean, yeah, sure.
Well, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, though. Let's see here. So if we do 16, like people's ideal can't be less than their, their lowest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does make sense.
So they made a mistake. If we were doing all this correctly, every time we go through each individual, we would correct everything to make sure that everything matches, right? And if they make big mistakes, then we just don't accept them at all. But so if we do 16, wait, what is it? So it says $20 an hour. So if we do $20 an hour times 30 hours times 4 weeks is 2,400. So she might have just made a mistake. So it's the fact that it says $20 an hour here, it can't be 1,000. Does that make sense? So it's 2,400.
Okay.
And that's why we ask for the hourly rate, so that we can double check everything. It needs to all match, right? Like your hourly rate can't be, less than your monthly rate. Does that make sense? Okay, so then 800 for 15 hours at $16. So if we do $16 an hour times 15 times 4 is 960. So that's around the correct amount. And then we have $18 an hour times 15, $18 an hour times 15 times 4.
Excuse me.
So this should be more around 1,000 if it's correct. So I would say we could do 15 for 1,000, or we could do 20 for like 1,500. Maybe we could do like 20 for around 1,500. I don't know what the exact calculation is, but I think it's about right. So what do you think? 20 for 1,500?
I would do 20 for 1,500.
Yeah. Okay. Any objections?
No objections for that one. As far as the calculation goes, it's okay.
Coolio. All right. So let's see what it all adds up to. Insert row above. White. And so I'm just going to add them up. So let's do equal sign. It's going to be April plus Masuma plus Natalia plus Eva plus Elizabeth and Claire. Is 7,000.
8,800. Yeah. Sorry.
7,800.
And what's the recruitment budget for local HQ?
I think it's like 3,000.
Okay. Since we know they're not going to all respond,
I mean, basically the question is, we would go over budget for the purpose of, just dealing with the fact that
getting you local help. Getting you local help.
We want to prevent the hard stop. Cool. So the reason why we would do the $7,800, which is not really allowed. So let's see what it would work if we actually fit it in the budget. And does anyone want to double check on the budget? Just go to the budget and go to the recruitment budget and see how much there is. You could also add the 120 degree plus that. So I think it's 5,000 for the total.
One moment, please.
Yeah, I'm looking for it too.
All right, so that's $3,000 would be April, Masuma, and Natalia. So if we stuck to our budget, we would invite April, Masuma, and Natalia. And then if we follow all the processes and rules, and then you'd want to get them off of the active rankings and remove them before adding Eva, Elizabeth, and then you'd need to get rid of them before adding Claire. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the whole point of recruitment, and this is not the first time we've gone over this, right? We've gone over this many times in the past. Recruitment is a constant thing. It's always happening, just like value tracking, right? Exit value tracking, it's like all the time. You know what I mean?
I see in the 120 West East Pacific is 4,500.
4,500?
It's total 4,500, yeah.
1,500 general, 3,000 local San Francisco Bay Area, and we got an additional plus additional 5,000 for preventing hard stop.
Where do you
Oh,
have
yeah.
that document, Miguel?
Oh yeah, remember we approved the additional
budget document,
5,000.
project stock.
Yeah, remember
Sharing in main,
Thank you.
remember we approved the additional 5,000 to prevent the hard stop. So that means it's 3,000 plus 1,500 plus 5 is going to be as much as 995. So I think the 7,800 does fit.
If we had 5,000, we will have 4,500, 9,500. Yeah. Makes sense.
It's
So it gives us a little more wiggle room. So I would say we just approve the full 7,800. So the way you do that is you would come in here into our notes, and then we'd say we're doing the budget. So then we do a proposal to increase rates for local candidates. Proposal to move forward with increasing rates. But this is the actual increasing of the rates. So I'm gonna add a table with 3 columns, and then the first thing I'm gonna copy and paste in is the actual amounts. And then we also want to insert a row below. I'll do Claire. And so these are the hours. This is the amount offered. And then we have and then we add in their name. And
Okay.
put their name right here. So this is April through Elizabeth. So I mean, it just takes a little basic diligence. So instead of just inviting people, we actually create a budget first. It's not super complicated. It's not super hard. You just add up the numbers. The total is, what was it, $7,800 for the local SFA recruitment budget. So this includes the 3,000 plus the 5,000. Okay. So the proposal is to approve local SFA recruitment budget. Are there any questions, concerns? Are there any objections?
I got one question.
What was the question? You have a question?
Those additional $5,000, where they come from?
It was for the recruitment budget. It was a special $5,000 added to the recruitment budget for the hard stop. It comes from RICO. All the money comes from RICO.
It comes from, okay. Okay, it comes from somewhere. Okay.
It's not made up money.
Yeah, it's basically saying, like, look, we're gonna cut down on the project budgets for other projects and our programs. We're gonna cut down on the program budgets for other programs within RICO, and we're gonna put the money towards recruitment. Does that make sense? So we do have to cut something. We're always cutting something.
But still, there's some money, yes.
What?
I will say, for example, also, I will vote for Isaac. Already take him out. Well, remove him from the rankings.
Okay, but can we do one thing at a time?
Okay.
So the current proposal is to approve the local SFA recruitment budget. Are there any objections?
No.
All right, no objections.
No objections again. No.
All right, cool. All right, done with that. So I think we finished. I think we're good on this. I mean, and again, this all of this work, the entire 30 minutes it took to create this budget should all be done ahead of time in Buddy Team. So when we get to the team meeting, the budget's all prepared, and we just propose it and we approve it. It could take 2 minutes. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Right? If we actually did the work, we actually were prepared for the meeting, instead of taking a half an hour to deal with this budget for local recruitment, it would be 2 minutes. Does anyone understand this? I'm just getting silence.
No, I understand, but there's something that trying to understand, like I don't know how to explain this.
What?
It's like to have a bit of a more understanding of what's going on, so we can prevent this kind of stuff and be very diligent. But I have no idea this was the main issue. We are going to slow stop and then hard stop. So I don't know.
The main issue is that people weren't prioritizing getting people hired. They were prioritizing doing work that didn't necessarily get done. And we kept saying we need to hire people. We want to go all year, 24 hours a day, and that it's a priority. And people didn't prioritize it enough. Not necessarily people here, just in general, people didn't prioritize it enough. So what the hard and slow stop do is gives people no choice but to prioritize it.
Exactly. Right. And we're at the full moon. We'll be reviewing the whole full hard stop and everything going to be going on with that. But but bottom line, I disagree with the idea that Steve says that it's not necessarily us. It is us. That we should be the most responsible team across the world, right? We should be the ones that are actually making sure everything happens, and we're not. And it is our responsibility, just like it's everybody's responsibility. We are at fault for 8 months going by and still not hiring someone locally, right? So the bottom line is that we've been talking about for months and months and months of creating these budgets, right? We switched around a little bit on how the budgets are made, but it's just like anyone could do this. We're just choosing not to, right? I shouldn't be the one who needs to make every single recruitment budget. Like it doesn't make sense for me to spend all of my time doing that, especially when people, and especially like Sonic or whatever, people need things to do. It's like, we should just be sharing the workload, and like we should be getting this work done. So that the fact that the people aren't getting recruited because the work's not getting done, it's just like basic processes. What's really great about our process, right, is that the reason why we have this process of creating these recruitment budgets and that you prioritize the people on top of the list is our recruitment is all set up for the next 3 months. You guys understand here? Like there's no need ever to not know what to do with recruitment. We have months and months and months of recruitment set up for 60 Degrees West Sextant. It's just no one's doing the work. Right? It's just you go down the list one by one by one by one by one. You go down the list, and we keep asking people one by one to join our team. There is no excuse for not having constant recruitment for months and months and months. It's just people just aren't doing the work. Right. And this is nothing new. We have gone over this over and over and over again for months and months and months. That's why there's a hard stop starting on at the full moon. Okay? And that's why it's really amazing about the model that we use here, is that not only did we just create, a recruitment budget for Americas, we have a recruitment budget for Americas ready to go for the next 3 months, if not longer, and we'll continue to recruit more, and they'll be added into the budget, so it's just like, we just have to do the work. That's all it comes down to. It's getting the work done. And if people don't know how to do it, and they don't know what to do, then ask the question. If we don't have enough people, then recruitment needs to be prioritized, which is what we're doing. So we can prioritize the recruitment, get enough people so we can get all the work done. All right, so I think we're ready to move on here. Are there any other questions regarding recruitment? Our next thing is the hard stop. I'm highly inclined to just skip the hard stop, and we can address the hard stop at the full moon for those who show up.
Fine by me.
It's okay.
Jay, before you skip that, can you explain what does that mean by hard stop?
Okay, we'll just go through the hard stop really briefly, what it means. Basically, if all of these things aren't met, which are right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 180 degree sextant, local SFA, 120 degree sextant. We're not really worried about the 60 degree because this is pretty much already covered. right? So we don't need to worry about it too much. So we're really just 1, 2, 3. If those things are not met, hard stop is basically no buddy teams. Basically, everything, no work. Basically, no work unless you have an assigned priority task that you are working on. And this also includes no senior manager shifts. I think that basically covers it. So basically, there's no board buddy teams. You can't just like show up whenever you want to. What does exist will continue is weekly main sessions and global sessions, right? So on weekly main session and global sessions, we can do buddy teams and split up into buddy teams and get work done. So if you have no other place to do work and you need to do training, so we can do training, and can split up into buddy teams and get work done. So the bottom line is that if people have no assigned priority tasks and we need to create a spreadsheet, this is a task here, create a spreadsheet, and the responsibility is to update the list of each worker for what they know how to do, and specifically the responsibilities. So responsibilities that you know how to do.
And where do we find that? On their main docs?
Well, it should be on their main docs, but we might need to talk to them. We might need to talk to each one of them. We need to review it, and we need to approve what people know how to do, right? And then basically, it'll be a bright yellow, and it'll be approved, like you are assigned to do this, and you'll be able to do it anytime you want to. And do this work anytime you want to, or in buddy teams with others who are assigned to do the same work. Period. Okay? And if you're not assigned something, then you can't work. It's really that simple. That's what a hard stop is.
All right,
And then we're going to have a list
list
of the
I'll get that list
priority
done tomorrow.
responsibilities. And then we'll also have a list of the priority
I
responsibilities.
have that.
Yeah, and the list of the,
I have to look. I have it.
well, no, we will be creating an updated list based on the hard stop.
Okay.
So the list of priority
Okay.
responsibilities are what needs to get done during the hard stop. This is the minimal, right? Obviously, one
Okay.
thing is recruitment, right? Recruitment is a obvious priority during the hard stop. If you know how to do recruitment and you've proven that you can, and it's signed off that you know how to do a recruitment task or responsibility, you will be approved to do it. If you don't know how to do it, then you have to wait for other people to do the recruitment, right? Does that make sense? Like hard stop,
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
hard stop is not a time for training. It's that simple. Another very important part that is going to be essential is onboarding. So as we start recruiting people, we're going to need to onboard them and schedule buddy teams with the new recruits, okay? So everybody can help out with onboarding and make sure that there's scheduled sessions with the new recruits, because they will be exempt. So basically, if you're helping recruit a new recruit and you're working with them and training them, you are exempt from the hard stop. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so the new recruits,
Yeah, sure.
the new recruits are exempt from the hard stop because we're recruiting them to work. Everybody who's been around for a while is not exempt, right? Miguel is right on the borderline. So it's going to be in Miguel's interest to get the hard stop over as soon as possible, because it will affect him just like everybody else, okay? So there's no, like midweek check-ins, new recruits are fully exempt from midweek check-ins. New recruits are not exempt from the recruitment hard stop, okay?
Okay.
Sure.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
How many people are needed for this recruitment?
Everybody, right? Like anyone who knows how to do it, we need them. We need everybody, like all hands on deck. That's what's going on here, guys. Like we need to just get the work done, right? Like in my calculation, if we all just did the work, we could get it done in 3 days. One day would be the actual promotions. The second day would be getting the form filled out and the budgets approved. And the third day would be getting the onboarding. You know, if we just did
Look.
it big scale, like that would be the fastest.
I'm not going to say who it is or what teams or whatever, but for a fact, I know that I've gone to certain teams and to see what they're doing. Of course, we're in a slow stop, and they're supposed to be doing certain things. And I had to argue with people that recruitment is more important than doing work, like verifying the spreadsheet about what work was done by their team that week. They're like, no, this has to get done. It's my responsibility. It's not your responsibilities you have to be working on. It's the full team are the responsibilities, and the number one responsibility right now is recruitment. And they just didn't want to hear it. And Jay and Nelly know who I'm talking about, was they were there when I had to go and let off steam afterwards. You know, I shouldn't have. I had to let off steam to somebody, and you guys were there. Saying more than once that all you're doing is recruitment. You're doing recruitment for these sectors, find new places to post. But it becomes, you know, because people are stuck in their ways and they think that their priorities are more important than the team priorities. And that's a big problem that we have. That the team priorities are what have to come, the full team priorities and responsibilities come first. Not the things that are in your responsibilities so that you can get more assigned hours and more bonus time.
I got a question about
there's no assigned hours for assigned. There's no bonus for assigned work. That's not what you get. You get bonus only for output. You don't have any output, you don't get no bonus. Let me just say one thing, and then let's go to Miguel. The one thing I want to just mention is that just like with the soft stop, so with the soft stop, we ease into the soft stop, and it's not just like all at one moment. The longer the soft stop goes on, the more and more, you know, diligent we're going to be about it, right? So in the context of the hard stop, it'll be the same way. At the beginning of the hard stop, it'll be the least restricted, and then as the hard stop goes on, you know, week after week, it will be more and more and more restricted, right? So at the beginning, it's not going to be like, all right, everyone's just totally screwed. You know, it'll be like they're like for the first week of the hard stop, we'll most likely allow one buddy team per level 4. So everyone in level 4 will get one buddy team. 4 equals 1 buddy team. So for the first week, there'll be at least one buddy team per level 4. Some buddy teams going on, and it might even take us a week to, like, you know, narrow down the buddy teams, and you know, it doesn't just happen automatically, right? So the point is that you know, senior manager shifts might be one more week of one senior manager shift, right? But then after that, it's like it's you know, it'll just continue to get less and less. Does that make sense? So it'll be a progression. It's not like the beginning of the hard stop is the same as the end of the hard stop, but by we get to the end of the hard stop will be the most restrictive. You know, and then once we open the hard stop, it'll be the biggest difference, right? So from the beginning of the slow stop all the way to the end of the hard stop, the day after the hard stop, all the restrictions will be released all at once. So it'll be a big change.
So Jay, you mean to say that one phase, the first phase of the hard stop will be one buddy team and one senior section manager shift only?
Yes.
No senior captains.
Well, no. The goal of the hard stop is no senior manager shifts, no buddy teams. No work unless you have assigned priority tasks, but we're going to be easing into that, okay? So, and this is what we're going to go over. This is a proposal that we're going to go over at the full moon session. But what I'm proposing is that we would be reducing to one buddy team per level 4, which might take a week, could take a week.
That is per week or per day?
Per week.
Per week.
One buddy team per week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that right now that's currently the policy, except we say that people who have senior sextant managerships can do 2. Okay, that's our current policy.
Oh, so we're talking about one buddy team outside of your scheduled.
No.
What?
No, the schedule's going out the door. The hard stop means no schedule anymore, right? So instead of just getting rid of all the buddy teams, what we're getting rid of is all of the just general scheduled sessions, like no more Sonic session every day. Like someone has to sponsor the Sonic session at level 4. Someone at level 4 needs to take on a session. Does that make sense? Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So it's a substantial reduction From there, so Sonic sessions are gone, right? Just general sessions are gone. Andromeda sessions are gone. It's only one buddy team per level 4 person, period. All right. Then from there, we do one last week of one senior manager shift, possibly, right? So I'm willing to let that one slide because this week we're just now going to 1, and so next week it could be the final week of doing 1, and then it would be 0 after that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Miguel?
Yeah, I got a question. The last time we issued this matter, I see that some diligent people were started working on the recruitment. And yesterday, I see Nelly and George working on it. I see Steve like 2 or 3 days ago working on it. And that's something that I don't understand. If some people are looking for avoid the hard stop, why all the organization is going to take the hard stop?
Hey, can you answer this?
Sure.
Sure.
Actually, the purpose of this, that we are working on it, but we are not getting the job done. We are not finalizing the job. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, but it's a process, you know? Like for me or everybody.
Well, we've been asking people to do this process for 8 months and they haven't. So for you who are new, it seems like this is coming relatively quickly. But for those of us who have been here and have worked on equipment before while nobody else did, it's been 7, 8 months that we've been working on by ourselves and nobody else has really tried. And now that they're being threatened with their hours, now they're willing to try. So like I said, for you, it seems like this is pretty quick, but it's been going on for months.
Okay,
yes,
I get it.
Eight months, actually. 8 months.
Okay, let's have another question. So how many recruiters are doing it for this thing so that we can avoid
Great.
this,
That's a great question. So to avoid or stop the hard stop, there's basically, let's just say that of the 4 components, right? So here are the 4 components. Let's just say that the 60 degrees west sextant, we're not worried about. That one's good to go. So we just have 3 components that are left for the hard stop. And so if we pop these in here and we delete it, for the 180 degree sextant, we need basically 2 senior managers and to fill all of the shifts. Currently none filled. Okay, so really 2 people. 2 people could be enough for the 180 degree sextant. Local SFA, 1 person helping with paperwork. And 120 degrees west sextant, we just need 1 person to fill the other half of the senior section.
I'm doing one on Mondays. You're doing 2, I think.
Yeah,
so somebody else do a couple.
Yeah, so that's it. So it's 2, 3, 4 people. So 4 people could end. 4 people could end the hard stop. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think that is easier. So then we can depend ourselves on amount. We can work on 1. We can work on 180 degree section.
Well, that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been telling people. Just what we are doing. Yeah. But I will say this: in this slow stop, there are still people that have sent for the Atlantic sector, even though it wasn't that important. Like they spent times they had 5 or 6. I know for Central Asia, a couple have been sent out. I know, for your Africa, 1 or 2 have been sent out. So people are still not prioritizing only these. We have, I know.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, there's nothing against doing recruitment for your own sextant.
Right.
It was just saying that we need to prioritize these 3.
Right.
Then I think it's best we follow up for these 4 people first, then we go to the other stuff.
Of course, 100%.
Well, we're sending out today. A lot of stuff is going to go out for all 3 of these, so we might get lucky. We're sending out 5 for San Francisco Bay. We're sending out 3 again for the 180. And the 120, they got to be New Mexico. We're missing some for the 120 West.
Yeah, I mean the 120 West, like we need to organize. We need to organize the existing Mexico ones and the 60 degrees West. Go through all of 60 degrees, check for anything in Central America or Mexico, and rethink it, because it's just like that's just never that hasn't been done. We've been talking about that for 2 months now, since we switched the sextants from the quintants, and it just hasn't been done. So all we need to do is get one person who is willing to take on the senior manager shift within the 120 degree West sextant. It's really not, I mean, what we're asking to do is not rocket science. It's not like some unbelievable task. It's just that people just aren't doing the work, right? We should be easily capable in a couple, in even a week to do this, right? But it's just like, it's been months and months and months, and it's just not happening. Another option here.
Too much.
Yeah, and Steve was talking to me about this yesterday, but I just want to point out that there is another option, right? The other option is that everyone else gets all the freaking work done, and I work on recruitment, right? But that we're even less capable of doing that because the work doesn't get done. So I end up having to do all the work. So me, Steve, other people end up doing all the work because all the work's not getting done. So it's like, how am I supposed to work on getting all the work done for everybody because the work doesn't get done, plus do all the recruitment? It's just like ridiculous. It's like if everybody else did all the work and got all the budgets done and got all the work for the client done, instead of just doing work but actually finishing it and completing it, then I could put more time into recruitment.
Jay's biggest bitch about me is that I'll get done working today, and I'm not doing it today, but in general, I'll get done working, and then I'll take a break for an hour, and then without telling anybody, I'll work another 2-3 hours. I'm not even putting on my work report, because it's the only way the work's going to get done.
But it's against the policy. You have to report all of your hours. It's against the policy.
I started.
Okay, good.
We will prioritize recruitment because obviously we need to work first on the public rankings, and there's a lot to do in recruitment. So obviously we will prioritize it. I will do it. I will prioritize it among my responsibilities. So
I have a buddy team set up on Thursday and Friday with Thomas and Asif, and we'll prioritize at least one session on Thursday or Friday, working on it diligently. Now we're all going to work on it, but as a regular basis, once the hard stop is done, and we'll just keep doing it on a regular basis.
We can prioritize that for tomorrow as well, Tinelli.
But tomorrow you have to.
Yes, let's prioritize it for tomorrow. Yeah, we will prioritize it for tomorrow.
Cool.
And we're gonna make up the spreadsheet, me and Asif tomorrow, and if Thomas is there, we're gonna make up the spreadsheet with the responsibilities and who can do what, and we'll start working on that tomorrow. Contacting people if we can't figure it out from their main docs, or double checking if I don't think they really know it, to see if they really know it.
Cool.
So we have a plan. We've got a plan of action.
Yeah. So one other thing I just want to mention is like a decision was made, and this is more important for like the new people. A decision was made a very long time ago to create a global network. The goal is going 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, right? And so with that decision, we agreed on the quintants and then the sextant model, so that we're passing off the baton with the senior sextant managers across the world 24 hours a day. Okay, so that was all agreed ahead of time, right? If we chose not to do that, right, and we were like, you know what, screw the global organization, screw the 24 hours a day, right? Let's rethink that. Then we would only need to do the local SF Bay. We'd only need to get one person in local SF Bay to meet our requirements for the recruitment, right? But the reason why it's so important with this global organization to have the 180 degree sextant, 120 degree West sextant, is because the global organization is only as effective as the weakest link, right? So it's like we have to pass off the baton from one senior sextant manager to the next, all the way across the world. And if we're missing an entire sextant, then the entire thing is pointless. Does that make sense? Like it's impossible. Like there's no one to pass the baton to. There's no one there.
One was not there yet.
I came on at 11:30 this morning. Lucy was still there. Lucy told me what was going on, asked me a couple of questions. I said, okay, she stuck around for a half hour while we worked together. I intentionally didn't schedule my buddy team for that first half hour, right? And then she left and I took over. During this meeting at some point, I should have said, Jay, it's now yours.
Well, yeah, but the fact is that I do Wednesdays and Saturdays, so I don't really do Thursdays, right? I'm kind of temporary on Thursday, but the point is that we need more people during the 120-degree west sextant, because otherwise it's a gap in the chain, right? We just don't have, and I can't deal with it on my own. It's overwhelming. I'm even considering, like, just so you guys know, I'm literally considering focusing on the co-chair role and not being a senior sextant manager, right? Like, I think if we could get people who could do the senior sextant manager position and I could focus on the co-chair position for 6 weeks and then switch, I think that would be better, because doing both could potentially be overwhelming, right? But the point is that for me, because I have so many other things going on, I think other people could potentially handle doing both easier. But the point is that if we're going to continue with the goal of having the global team all set up, and we need to get all the senior sextant managers filled, otherwise it's pointless to be paying people the bonuses for the senior sextant manager positions, right? Which is why the hard stop includes getting rid of the bonuses for the senior sextant managers, because it's pointless. No reason to have people working the senior sextant manager shifts when there's a single gap in the global, because then it doesn't work. Okay.
I have another question, if I may. What happened with the team in the 180 sextant? Like a team. There's no team in that
team. It's
sorry. I thought it was for Hawaii.
No, we have a team. It's called the Sonic team. It meets every single day, and it's a great team. But it's basically like they get up at 5 in the morning, or 4 in the morning, or 6 in the morning, or 8 in the morning, depending on where they are in Asia and Africa, right? To attend the Sonic session, and it's not their sextant. Right, so it's very hard. I mean, they would have to be up from 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning in order to work that shift. Does that make sense? So coming to a 2-hour buddy team session is very different from filling a 5-hour sextant manager shift. You see the difference, Miguel?
Okay, that's something that you are talking about the geographical issue. So I don't know if we can. I'm new and have ideas. Maybe we can divide that shift in two. Like some people in the next sextant get the half of the shift, and then the other one get the other half. Because what I see is you need senior management, and I think that the people with most experience need to fulfill that shifts, isn't it?
Well, it's filled. It's filled through the elections, right? So it is, senior managers are appointed by election in the organization, in the network. So basically, the bottom line is that if we wanted to make a proposal and propose splitting up the senior sextant manager shifts, we could consider doing that. But it is true that if anybody, we have 25 people across the world currently working with us and are on budget, right? If any of 3 people are willing to fill the shifts in the 180-degree sextant and the 120-degree west sextant, and we hire one person for the SF local bay, hard stop over. Okay, does that make sense? So again, the goal is not just the hiring of the people. The actual goal and the reason for the hard stop is that the work isn't getting done and that the shifts aren't being filled, right? And we're not gonna force anyone to be up in the middle of the night when they don't want to be, to fill the shift. So we're willing to pay the money to recruit the people that we need, right? But if we want to split the shifts in half, that would be a proposal, and we would all have to agree on that. But for now, the shifts are 5 hours. 3 days. I think it's 5 hours 3 days a week, and then 1 3-hour shift 1 day a week.
So, we check, yeah.
One last question.
That if somebody
This will be the hard stop will be in effect when?
It starts at the full moon, which is December 3rd, which I believe is on Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, so we have 3 days, 3 or 4 days. The hard stop starts.
Okay, Jay, I have a question.
Yes.
So, meaning, if someone would like to be part of 180 degrees section, will somebody propose that or what can I go for that?
There's no proposal. It's just open.
Almost level 4.
No, you don't have to be level 4. You can just be level 3. Like the
minimum of level 3. Minimum of level 3.
Well, no, for the hard stop, to prevent the hard stop, we need to have the senior manager shifts filled with level 3 managers. Does that make sense? Because we can get someone to level 4 very easily. So if someone decided to switch as an individual, you don't even need agreement from your buddy team. As an individual to switch your elections jurisdiction to the 180-degree sextant, you would automatically be appointed as the senior shift manager because there is nobody else. There literally is nobody in the 180-degree sextant, period. So whoever chose to be in there would automatically be the highest ranked worker in the 180-degree sextant. Does that make sense?
Or you would still need one more because you can't do every day.
Okay, so JJ, I have a question over here. Can we propose, like me or Thomas can propose for 180-degree section?
Thomas can right now.
Yeah, me, I can work on that.
The point that I'm trying to make is that it's not a proposal. Anyone can just do it. There's no proposed necessary. Everyone gets to choose what sextant they want to be a part of as an individual. You don't need to get permission.
I can be
So for that we have to leave. We have to leave our existing.
Yes, you can only be part of a single sextant. So, like for example, right now you're the senior sextant manager of the Central Asia sextant. In your elections, you have chosen to be in the Central Asia sextant. And if you want to change that, you have to leave your management ranking in that and go to a different sextant. You can only be one.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think I can join on 80-degree section for because my working hours are flexible for me.
Okay, but definitely review it because it's not the Atlantic sextant and it's not the Americas, right? It's the 180 degrees, the sonic sextant, so it's actually much later now. It doesn't start for another 3 or 4 hours. Does that make sense? So you need to check the times.
Yes.
The times are very, very specific, and you'd have to meet those particular times to be the senior sextant manager of the 180-degree sextant. So you can see that on the if someone wants to send it to Thomas, please, the schedule for the senior secretary shift managers.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Cool. So are there any other questions?
No, I think I will. I don't know. I know my sextant for my management is for Atlantic, but let me know if you decide to go share instead of being a senior shift. I can take that one because I think it's a better time for me. But
What? I don't understand, Nelly. Say again. I didn't get it.
you mentioned that instead of being senior shift manager of the time you are right now, you would like to go share with something. I didn't understand very well.
Well, no, I was saying that that it might be possible that in my role, in the fact that I have so many meetings, so much dealing with, it's just overwhelming. To do a 5-hour shift for me is a lot harder than it is for a lot of other people, right? It's just a little bit harder for me because I have so many other meetings and so many other things and errands and all this stuff. Like when I start dealing with local people,
it's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
So for me to oversee a shift, I mean, I'd still be able to do a few, but overall, it might be possible. Nice. I need to go to the bank. I need to go to the bank and do some major transfers. I just got approval. But anyways, it might be possible to do a few, but I think my role in the global organization as a co-chair, right? So we're going to start co-chair elections. The first co-chair elections is going to be for the full moon. So, you know, Thomas, Steve, like get the elections a form set up and make sure it's sent out before the full moon, because we want the election to be finalized for the full moon, and this will be our first co-chair elections ever. The co-chairs meet on the 8th moons, and then next week will be the first 8th moon meeting of the co-chairs, right? So I'm the first co-chair, and this will be the election of the second co-chair, and we elect up to 3 co-chairs.
Question.
Yes.
We already spoke about it. We already discussed it earlier when I said we were doing some prep. On the election form for the co-chair, just one co-chair position going up?
Yeah, every 2 weeks it's one position. So at the full moon and new moon, every full moon and new moon, we're now going to be doing elections. So it's going to be happening much more often, and we're just electing one person.
And the other elections, the second elections are for the Mercury session, right?
Sure. Yeah, we'll, if we're flexible on it, we'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about it, but you know, if we want to also do a Mercury session elections, we can. Or we can just apply the full moon elections to the Mercury session if we forget to do them or whatever, you know? So the point is that it just make sure everyone does the elections, that it's going to rank everybody, and we can apply it to whatever we want, okay?
We already have a schedule to get it done. That's fine.
All right, so I'm thinking for right now, unless there's any other questions, we go on to payroll. We finish payroll, and then we be done for today.
Yeah, well, some of us have been here a long time today.
Yeah, Miguel?
I got one final question. I was putting in the those countries, those sections of the world are in the 180 degrees.
Japan is not Sydney is not the furthest east is New Zealand. So it stops at New Zealand, and then it goes all the way past Alaska. So there's a little bit of Canada that's in there, but other than that, it's just the Pacific Ocean, and so it includes Hawaii.
So that's Hawaii. That would be Eastern Island, or not that far?
No, it might include Easter Island, the Marianas, possibly Fiji.
We don't have too many people in there.
No, there's very few people.
Hawaii is a pretty big state.
Yeah, Hawaii is like the most populated part of the entire sextant. So that's why we're focusing on Hawaii. Plus, they speak really good English there because it's Hawaii, right? So, anyways, the point is that New Zealand also speaks good English and has a lot of people, but it's just a little more complicated.
Marshall Islands are in there.
There's a whole bunch. We have an entire list. You can look at the list. We have it. We've researched it in detail. The whole list is there. Yeah. You can look at it. It's perfectly fine. But the point is that the probability of getting someone recruited from some random island is little to zero probability. It's very difficult to do that. Eventually, we will get better at that. But ideally, we just recruit someone and pay the money to get someone from Hawaii.
But I do think we need to prioritize maybe New Zealand a little bit. I'm going to take a look into it.
Definitely.
But okay.
And just to remind you, we can find people from Sydney. We can find people from Japan. We can find people from Mexico. As long as they're willing to do the 180-degree sextant, it's perfectly fine, right? It doesn't matter where you are on the planet. You just need to agree. But the highest probability of finding someone to agree is if they actually are in the 180-degree sextant. Does that make sense?
Of course, they're up at those hours.
They're up at the hours that are required. All right, it's cool. So anything else on the recruitment? Are we ready to go on to payroll?
Yes, let's go to payroll.
Yes.
Cool. So, I mean, this is the most detailed we've ever gone over recruitment ever. We are more organized in recruitment than we've ever been before. I'm very confident that based on the current status of where everything is, that if we just do the basic due diligence to get the work done, that we could easily keep the hard stop to a single week. I'm pretty confident that within a week and a half that we could have all the recruitment criteria met. and end the hard stop. But I seriously doubt we're going to be able to prevent the hard stop from starting on Sunday. I don't see that happening.
Okay, Jay, I have got one more question. I have got
enough to work as a sector manager before Sunday. Realistically, get him to level 4.
Well, no, they don't. They don't have to start working as a sextant manager. All they have to do is schedule as a level 3 sextant manager. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They don't have to start working. They just have to be level 3. They have to agree to the position, agree to the time slot that they will take it, be ranked, and then be willing to learn and become level 4. So they'll have like a month or so to become level 4, but then we at least know someone's in the slot, so that within the next month or two, we'll be able to initiate the global, handoff of all the senior sextant managers, right? So we're not saying that they're going to immediately run to the position. They still have to be level 4 before they can actually do it.
I have a option over here. Just a suggestion, as we are having a 2 team like Jorge, Nelly, and Miguel, and me, Steve, and Thomas. Okay, and if we divide our work, like Nelly and Jorge and this Miguel, they can work on public ranking to sort it out, and after that they can work on 120 sections and local algebra, and then me, Steve, and Thomas will work on or whatever. Like this, if we plan, I think we can achieve the desired outcome
It's not, but
within
it's not
3
only
days.
the 6 of us. It has to be the other teams also. We can't all do it alone. Because Nelly and Jorge have to do value tracking. Nelly and Jorge have to do value tracking. I have to do Boy Enterprises and VC. So it can't just be the 6 of us. Because we have other stuff that are priority responsibilities. We can't.
Okay.
Because they have client responsibilities, no value tracking. Okay, right now, yeah, they didn't pass their budget, so maybe they don't need value to get value, but but it has to be done. So, you can't stop doing everything. There are other client priorities and responsibilities that need to be done. So they can schedule some time for it. We can schedule some time for it. But all the teams have to schedule time. We have 1 or 2 buddy teams. The Sonic had three hangouts going. Most of them with triple teams, right? All of them with triple teams. They could have broken up into 4 sets, and at least 2 or 3 of them should have been doing recruitment, and they weren't. So it can't just be us.
All right, no worries. Okay.
Because there are more people who work on that side, on the old world.
Yeah, that's part of why this hard stop is happening, is because we did so much recruitment. It was so easy to recruit people in the old world. In the new world, it just wasn't happening. And I think part of it is because it's just more expensive. We have to spend more money. And so now we've budgeted a lot more money for recruitment in the new world. And so we just got to, recruit the people and get it happening. We're so close. It's just a matter of crossing the finish line and getting it done. And again, just because we end the hard stop doesn't mean that recruitment is over. Recruitment is constantly happening. Like we haven't even started our public launch. We're still just doing the basic, staff recruitment, right? And then all of us are going to be responsible for the public, and the public people are going to be coming in basically like volunteers and or other, working for equity and tokens. There are going to be way more of them than they're going to be of us as the staff, right? And they're going to be running the organization, and we are going to be staffing the organization, and we are going to do what they say because we are publicly accountable. The public tells us what to do, not the other way around. Okay, so this is just the beginning.
So before going to payroll, can we take 5 minutes break?
And before you take a break, as if
We're not past the point you're supposed to have in the break. We've been going for 3 hours.
Okay, I've looked at that schedule, that manager shift, and I think it shoots me for that.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if you want to switch to the 180-degree sextant, we can just update that in the elections rankings, and then you would just put you as 180-degree, and then we would add you to the rankings, and you would need to start attending Sonic sessions. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen you at a Sonic session, ever. So it really comes, in the end, it comes down to being present at Sonic sessions. You know, and because that's the team that oversees. Like, you can't be a senior sextant manager and not attend the primary super team of that sextant. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So let's go ahead and move on to payroll. We want to take like a 1-2 minute break real quick, or we want to jump into payroll. I see if you can take a 5-minute break, and then the rest of us will just start with payroll.
I'm taking 2 minutes. I need to put up hot coffee.
Okay. So quick
Okay,
break.
no worries. I'll just grab a coffee quickly and come back.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to take a quick break, let's just do a couple minutes break. It's fine.
No, I'll stay here. No problem.
I'll stay here too.
All right, if you guys can link all the information for payroll, and then we have a couple proposals for payroll, and then also, you know, link any other questions or anything else that you want to ask about payroll. Okay.
Hello. Hi, honey bunny. How are you? That's good. I'm Daddy. Steve is still working, but I can talk to you for a minute. Oh, okay. Well, I love you even more. How's that? Well, I'm going to come there and tickle your belly to show you how much I love you. Okay, and you know you love a ticklish belly, don't you? Yes, okay, honey, I gotta go, I'm working. Love you, bye-bye. My 7-year-old niece had to call up and tell me she loves me. Did I bounce out of the hangout?
Oh, we're still here?
Okay, I thought I bounced out of the hangout and got so quiet. Is my phone barking? Yes, it is.
I think that's it.
Okay, ready? So, have more people interested in payroll so you can get paid in a period of 2 to 3 days. Okay, so, really quickly on the goal of payroll and these proposals, like my goal with payroll is like, eventually for me, is that we have enough people working and we have enough things balanced that, and I know this is crazy, but it pushed us hard that everything happens in real time. Okay, so I know it sounds insane, but the goal is real-time finances, real-time taxes, real-time payroll, that we're tracking people's time, and we're doing real-time value tracking. We're doing real-time issuance of tokens, that literally everything happens immediately. So for example, we do this session, we do the session value tracking, and then we immediately issue the session credits afterwards in every one of the tokens. Does everyone understand that?
Sure, that's what we do all the time.
That's the goal, right? We're not there yet, but that's the goal. So in the context of payroll, the payroll is going to be on the, like for example, like if we switch to the Selene calendar, the payroll for every week will be on like, you know, basically the moons, right? So it'll be like the new moon, for the end of the month, the full moon for the mid-month, right? And then you have the quarter moons for the weeks, right? For the weekly payroll. So the goal is that the day that the payroll ends, you're paid within 24 hours. That's the goal. So whether it's 24 hours or whether it's a couple days later, it's whatever. But the goal is that everything, all the information should all be there to immediately pay people as quickly as possible. That's the goal. Okay? That makes sense?
I think we schedule specific people on specific shifts, Friday or Thursday, whatever, or Monday, and it's their responsibility to do.
Jay, let me check if I'm understanding this correctly. You are saying that we are not only changing the calendar to Celine, but also the payroll?
Everything based on finances, tracking, value tracking, all the past systems all switch to the Selenium calendar. The only things that don't switch to the Selenium calendar are the present and future scheduling of the calendar. Like, so for example, all of our buddy teams stay on the 24-hour calendar, the normal calendar. Yeah. So, but all of our finances, all of our past value tracking, payroll, everything is switching to the Selenium calendar. If we move forward with that, we have until December 10th to finalize that decision. So there's still a few things left that need to happen in order for us to do that. It is possible that maybe with the hard stop of the recruitment that we just decide to skip the Selenium calendar, but we're so close, and it is so much better than the Gregorian calendar. I'm already feeling better already with the Selenium calendar. Like, it's like,
Okay.
All right. So this proposal for getting the payroll done in 2 to 3 days, I mean, I think that's pretty much already part of our policy. Already is part of our policy. Also, scheduling people for specific shifts for individual sessions to make sure it happens. Also, this is not a proposal. It can already happen. Okay, we just need to get people to agree to do it. So I would just go ahead and say that we just get rid of the proposal there because this is just already good. So the proposal for people who prioritize and do payroll, that they get paid last. That is a substantial proposal because it's the opposite of what I have been doing. Additionally, I think we have payroll bonuses, right? So we can give bonus for payroll, can give bonuses for payroll output, right? Already. Sweet. So I think, does anyone object to this proposal, or should we vote on it real quick? I think we should do a roll call vote. I'm going to vote yes.
I think it's okay because sometimes we face some people and then we are out of time and then we leave it and it's just not fair. So the fair thing should be to pay everyone.
Yeah. So Nelly, are you a yes?
I'm a yes.
Okay. Miguel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. Steve? Jorge?
I think he's not here.
I would say yes. Nevertheless, I just have something to say. Most of the times we prioritize payroll, and it's Nelly and you and me who we just do it. And I wrote the proposal for the people because, it's been like all these months we have been the ones who have been in charge of payroll. And it seems a little bit unfair that at the end of the session, because it has taken us like 6 hours to finish payroll. And at the end, when we are all tired or something, we just say, okay, we're gonna do this tomorrow, and we'll finish with payroll. We are almost done, and that's it. It's not the first time that happens. And actually, I'm gonna say yes, but someone else has to like take responsibility for this too, because there's been only like 4 or 5 people doing it, and it's not fair that we invest 6 hours, 7 hours in a single session I hate, actually.
I do agree.
Okay, so
I mean, I would like to know how to improve the process in order to make it faster, in order to be able to pay everybody in just one show.
okay, so that okay, two things. One, that what Nelly just said right there is the essence of payroll, right? The essence of taking responsibility for payroll. And remember, we still don't really have a payroll manager, right? Payroll is a project. I don't think people understand. I think people think of payroll as, oh, everyone just gets paid, and I want to get paid too, right? That's not what payroll is. A project, which means it's dozens of responsibilities that all have to happen, and they all have to be synchronized in the right amount of time in order to get, you know, dozens of people paid, right? What my point is that it's impossible for me or any one person to do it by themselves. Literally impossible. So like you're not even gonna try, right? So payroll being a project, the whole concept of making sure that we have the correct number of debit cards, that we have the correct amount of money in the correct account at the time it needs to be there is all part of payroll, right? Payroll is not, oh, payroll is supposed to happen 2 weeks ago. We better just sit down and get some people paid. That's not what payroll is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? Payroll is actually doing the work because it needs to get done, not because it's 2 weeks late. Right? It's taking actual responsibility and making sure it gets done on time, make sure the money is in the correct account, where it needs to be, and that it's all prepared ahead of time, right? As the treasurer, I am technically the person who pushes the button to transfer the money, but the calculations that need to be made to know how much money to send at the right time to the right place is 10 times more work than it is to push the button to actually transfer the money, right? So the work is not in pushing the button to send the money. That's the easiest part. About, you know, it's about 1/10 of the work, right? So if we get all of the stuff done ahead of time, the actually pushing of the buttons could happen in, you know, a couple hours, right? Like 2 hours. I think we could potentially even get it under an hour if we really bust it out on being prepared. But nonetheless, our plan. What?
On the payroll, on the responsibility spreadsheet, is there a specific responsibility for payroll?
There's a dozen of them or more.
Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe.
Maybe we need to break it down where, you know, we give it to 1 or 2 people as their responsibility instead of when there's a dozen or more, everybody thinks the other person's doing it.
Okay, so yeah. So anyways, another thing that I'll mention is that. Okay, I think this is actually a really good place to mention this. All right, so just as a slight tangent, but I think this is really important. Okay. And I think this relates a lot to what Jorge was talking about in terms of who's responsible for payroll, and I also think it's a lot about the Sonic session, right? And what goes on there.
Yeah, you are coming towards the right point now.
Yesterday, I came to work. I got on the Hangouts. I did 5 hours of work after multiple, like 3 hours of all of the EXA work plus all the other work and not sleeping well. I felt like crap, but I came to work anyway. I worked 9.5 hours yesterday, even though I felt like shit. Okay, so, and I worked like 70-hour weeks. It's insane. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that yesterday we were all here working, right? And we all collectively prioritized me, Jay, to focus on training Miguel and Thomas for 5 hours on, you know, the monthly spreadsheet stuff and the BIOS. Okay? So
and I took responsibility for making a mistake with that, and I am guilty of what I said I did. I should have stayed with you. Prioritize payroll.
Yeah.
I should have.
So the point is that we are all collectively responsible for all the work that needs to get done. And another thing we need to put on the next steps is the leadership buddy team, right? So in the Sonic sessions, you know, in some of the global, you know, old world sessions, we've already had for many months 3, 4, even more buddy teams all meeting simultaneously. And when that happens, it's essential to have a leadership buddy team that's overseeing all of the work happening, all the other buddy teams. In the Americas buddy teams, we haven't really had that problem because sometimes it's hard to have a single buddy team in the past, right? So as we start having 2, 3 buddy teams, we need to be doing the leadership buddy team. There's a specific process that the leadership buddy team goes through to make sure that all the priorities are being addressed, right? So when we don't stop at the beginning of the session and ensure that the priorities are being addressed, then the priorities are not going to be addressed, period. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in relationship to the payroll, if someone takes responsibility for payroll as the payroll manager or even just a payroll support person, right? That has nothing to do with doing it all yourself. And that's how we need to, that's one of the problems why all the work doesn't get done. Because people don't understand the mental state of being a manager, right? When you're a manager, it's not about getting all the work done. So it's like, oh, payroll needs to get done. Immediately, everyone just thinks of doing payroll. But that's incorrect. The correct way of thinking of that, like, oh, wow, payroll needs to get done. We should review all the responsibilities to make sure they're all getting done, to make sure that they've all been assigned. And it has nothing to do with doing the work, right? It has to do with stepping back, not doing the work, and making sure it's assigned. So if somebody in Americas wants to take on payroll, part of that can be making sure that the Sonic team is helping take that seriously and assigning, like all of us in Americas, in the way that the old world looks at us and looks at it. It doesn't matter whether you're Nelly, Jorge, Steve, Miguel, anybody. We can assign people in the old world tasks, and they will do everything they can to support us. Right? That is the relationship. But the Americas is where everything is started, and the old world is supporting the Americas to get all the work done. Right? Eventually, it could shift and it could evolve. Who knows? But that's where it currently is right now. So
okay.
My point is that Jorge's excuse of saying like, oh, we do it all the time and like, other people don't help. It's like, well, did you ask them to help? Did you assign them help? Did you manage it and make sure that they were emailed that this needs to happen at this time tonight? Let's schedule it. And the answer that I would assume is that no, you didn't do all of that.
And I will even give you this, since some of you aren't up at that hour, and I pop into the Sonic almost every night. If you tell me that this needs to be done by the Sonic, Jay does that. Steve, can you tell the Sonic that this needs to get done? Or what do, Jay? I go there and I say, look, these tasks need to get done. Task a buddy team or 2 or whatever's necessary to get it done. But I don't know what everybody needs to get done. I don't know what to, I only know what Jay tells me, But if you think there's something that you're working on that, if you say to me, we need to get the payroll verified, can you ask Sonic to do it? I'll gladly go up there. They know how to do it. They've done it before. Guys, I need a first, a second, a third verification on the payroll tonight before, before the end of the shift. They'll Skype me and let me know they're done. Or they're at the point where I can look at it, they're never done.
Yeah. So I think that for me, there's 2 important things here. One is that once we can get the 180-degree sextant senior managers, that particular shift is literally the link between the new world and the old world, right? Because the new world comes first, and then we pass off the baton to the 180-degree sextant, and they pass it to the old world, starting with Australasia and then going to Central Asia and then Africa, right? So it's essential. Without that link, we can't, pass things off as well. And luckily, Steve's helping with some with that. Other people are helping out, but it's an essential link to be able to be successful with our whole strategy, right? With this global strategy. The second thing is that whether we're talking about payroll, whether we're talking about recruitment, whether we're talking about, client billing or client work, it really all comes down to the same thing. It's about taking initiative and taking responsibility and being like, look, payroll's not going to happen unless we prioritize it. Prioritizing it does not mean sitting down and getting people paid, right? And until we get that out of our heads, that prioritizing payroll is actually much more substantial, that it involves scheduling, it involves responsibilities, it involves managing, it involves a dozen responsibilities, it involves like a whole set of things that we are all collectively responsible. And it is true, you know, Jorge, I mean, Steve has a really good point that a lot of the verification for payroll and all of the payroll, you know, getting the hours added up correctly, all that stuff, you know, they help out a lot with that at the old world, right? So payroll is much more than just doing the payments itself. There's a lot that goes into preparing it. So anyways, I think we're done with all of the pep talking about it, but I think the core problem of payroll is the same core problem with recruitment, is the same core problem with client billing, is the same core problem of just needing to take initiative and stepping back and realizing that there's more work than just the work that you're doing. Always. So Nelly, let's go back to you and think about the specific questions. Can we vote on this? Oh, wait, we haven't finished voting. We're still in the middle of voting. So Jorge, you're a yes, right?
Yeah, I'm a yes.
Okay, so Steve, the proposal is that people who do and prioritize payroll must get less.
Yes.
Okay, and
I
then
said yes already.
Asif.
Yes,
Okay.
from my side.
All right, so agreement. So let's go to Nelly. And I also say, just before we go to Nelly, that let's say there's 2 or 3 buddy teams that are working on getting people paid. If one buddy team like Jade, Nelly, and Jorge work together and get everyone paid, we don't pay Jorge and Nelly. But then if another buddy team that night with, you know, Sonic, buddy team with me, Lucy, and Albina or whatever, that buddy team could pay Jorge and Nelly. So as long as there's 2 buddy teams, everyone can get paid, right? So Nelly, what's the question?
We have to.
On payroll? What's the question on payroll? Output?
Yeah, my
How to calculate output?
my question on payroll is let's check on the okay, for example, on the new payroll, okay? The part of the bonuses, I just don't know how to calculate the bonuses. You know, the hours multiply by what or divide by what. I just don't know how to get that amount. Because I know, for example, at least Jorge and I haven't been paid for our output or haven't got any bonuses, and so.
Okay, well, let's start with you. It says here that you have $95 of output.
Yeah, that's the new one. That's the one you did. But you were doing it so fast that I couldn't get, you know, how you did it, how you calculate it.
Cool. So let's go it again. If someone could take notes, then we can actually write it down, a step-by-step process. So the first step is going to the work tracking and pay spreadsheet.
And Jay's computer is being slow again.
Of course.
And you don't have that many tabs open either. I can read them.
Well, there's other things that have more tabs open. So
I'm sure this page is behind. I see the pages behind.
Okay, so then I'm going to go to the current month. Well, actually, no, the previous month. So it's going to be October 15th to November 18th is the month that we're on. And then we're going to go to Nelly. And so for Nelly, what we see here, actually, we're going to come down to the output, right? So we're going to come down here because we're not talking about normal overall hours. We're talking about targeted work hours, which is output. So you have 1 hour of output here. You have 2.5 hours of output here. You have 4.5 hours output there. And then you have 2.5 hours of output here. So the total is 9.25 hours of output, as far as I know.
Okay.
Are we on the same page?
Yes.
Okay, so step 1 is go to the personnel work tracking pay sheet and add up the total numbers of output. Okay. Step 2 would be to compare the numbers of hours, the 9 hours of output, to the total number of hours that Nelly has worked. So Nelly worked 80 hours, right, for the month. And you can see here that she was budgeted budgeted $812.50. All right, and her hours is 812 hours. So 80 hours. So she's budgeted for 16 hours a week. 16 times 5 is 80. All right. So basically, we made a mistake here. All right. So it looks like this is why we double and triple check everything. So according to my calculations here, Nelly is scheduled to work 80 hours, and you worked 80 hours, and so it's exactly correct, right? So therefore, this extra 9.25 hours would not be issued a bonus, which means we paid you an extra $95 that we shouldn't have. And so, because you were already paid those 9.25 hours. Does that make sense?
I still don't understand very well.
All right, let's take a look. Okay, so this is output bonus calculation. Step one. Step one. Go to the workout, add up the number of output hours. Okay. So step two is get the total hours for the month and compare to the total hours budgeted, right? If the total hours budgeted is equal or more than the total number of hours worked, all hours were already paid. No back pay. So so basically the point is that you're required to have back pay in order to get bonus hours. Right? So if you don't have any back pay, then there's no additional hours to pay you for. Does that make sense?
So we
So you need to have back pay to get the bonuses.
Yeah, like so the whole idea of a bonus is that it's bonus hours that would otherwise be back pay. Right? So it's saying instead of your back pay not getting paid to you, we're going to pay you the back pay because you did the output.
Now, how does that work as far as senior manager hours go?
It's the same thing, really. Yeah. The output bonuses are pretty much the same for any of them, although there's slight differences, but you know they're pretty much the same.
But
so basically, if you have 15 hours a week, all right, and you used to work 15 hours during your buddy teams, and then you get assigned a senior manager shift position, and you stop working in all your buddy teams, you only do your senior manager shift position, you do 15 hours a week, you don't get any bonus hours. You didn't work any additional hours. You're getting paid for the hours that you were working, and you didn't do any more hours. You're not going to get a $250 bonus on top because you didn't do any additional hours. Does that make sense?
No, I have a question. So, for example, if I only work my 16 hours that I'm scheduled to work for, and in those 16 hours, I do output, I don't get paid because I didn't work more hours than I was scheduled.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you did the work that you were paid to do, right? That's what the goal is. So with your output, if you did output hours, it will increase your ranking, right? So you get better ranked for output for your contribution ranking, and then you can, basically you're the boss. You can tell other people what to do. If you have higher output ranked, you can tell people what to do. So in the context of the purpose of output bonuses is saying that you don't even need a budget, right? You could have a $0 budget. You can work your ass off, do the output, and get paid anyways, but you have to do the work, right? So if you're only working the hours that you're already budgeted for and you're already paid, why would we pay you more money to do no additional work? Does that make sense?
So what he's saying is by taking the senior managers, you're just work your regular buddy teams plus the senior manager shift. Then you get paid the bonus money for working above your normal pay for taking those extra hours and working the senior manager shift. But if you're still just doing the same 15 hours or 16 hours a week that you were doing all along, you're not taking any extra hours, so you're not going to get paid for any extra hours. The senior manager's bonus and things are for going over what you normally do. And you're getting paid, of course, you end up over and above what your normal is to get the work done and to get the output. Then you get paid an output bonus above your normal pay.
Yes.
I understand. So basically, is that if we work our regular hours, we don't get any bonus for the outputs, right?
Yep, that's exactly correct. Yeah, so it's like if you're just working your regular hours, like the whole idea that no one's supposed to produce anything for the work would be insane, right? Like the whole concept of your work is that the reason why we're paying everyone to work is to actually accomplish something with their work, right? We don't require that. So you can work and accomplish absolutely nothing, and then you could be really low on the rankings, and then eventually we'll prioritize and hire the people and increase the rates of the people who are getting work done, right? But the point is that if you aren't working any additional hours, there's no need to give someone a bonus, right? And the reason, and part of the reason why it's confusing here, and I think one of the reasons why we got you incorrect on the initial thing, although I think there might be a back end thing that's that we might address here, and so I think you still might get the $95 bonus. We'll see. But the point is that when you're dealing with 5-week months, everything gets confusing, because now everything is 5 weeks instead of 4 weeks, and all the budgets change, and just crazy. So that's one of the reasons why the Selene calendar is so much better, is because there will never be a time ever when there's 5 weeks. It's always 4 weeks every single month forever, right? Very good.
Okay.
So the other thing to note here is that when you're working your bonus hours, and again, this is the same thing with the senior manager shift, the idea of bonus hours is for being above and beyond your normal work. So
yeah, I think it was correct, because I did work above. For example, if let me put myself as an example.
Well, no, I'm not worried about your particular situation. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah. Okay.
So in general, the reason for bonus hours is that you're working above and beyond your normal work hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so then, in addition to that,
it was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, in addition to that, just to make sure people are clear, deliverables are actually a little more complicated. Deliverables allow us to actually pay people on top of bonus, on top of anything else they did. So if someone literally doesn't work, right, and magically spends like 20 minutes and gets a deliverable done, right, they could get the full deliverable bonus because they did it in 20 minutes, and then if they got it done, as long as the work is done, you get paid the deliverable bonus, right? We don't care about the number of hours. We just care that you get the work done, because the deliverables bonus is about the actual final deliverable that you got done, and so you get basically a direct bonus check, regardless of hours. All right, and so there are a couple things with deliverables that are associated with hours, but overall, the goal of the deliverables is that it's like for example, you write a logo. Someone gets paid to do the logo. They get $500 just to do the logo. Right? If it took them 5 hours, we don't care. We just want the logo done, and we'll give a bonus for it, right? So that's an example of a deliverable. Do you see the difference? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Either that or his battery died again.
Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Now we
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I was just going through deliverables. Did you guys hear about the deliverables?
Yeah, and in case, for example, that for example, my total hours should be 64, but I work 80. In that case, we take the bonus hours, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So if your budgeted hours per month is only 60 hours and you work 80 hours, you would have 20 hours of back pay. And instead of just getting back pay, we would pay you those bonus hours because you produce output.
Okay. And my question is, how do we, for example, if I have 8 bonus hours, how I transform it into the pay, how I calculated to
Okay, yeah,
the,
yeah. So
the
let's keep
pay.
going. Let's keep going. So one thing I want to mention here really quick, so we don't forget, is that in Nellie's situation for last month, there is another thing, one other consideration, which is you had this like family leave pay for 1 week, right? So it's possible that that might count in addition to your hours, and that actually is would go on top of the bonuses. So we need to consider that. Okay, so let's not forget about that. Okay, so can we come back to that? Come back to this. Okay, so let's go on to step 3. All right. So step 3. So the first thing is you get the total hours a month. So basically, if they don't have bonus hours, if no bonus hours possible, then you can stop right here. Okay.
Okay.
So that makes it easy. So basically, a lot of people, they basically do bonus hours, but they don't work any additional hours. So then we're already paid them for all of their bonus. They don't get additional bonus hours because they didn't work any additional hours. We're not going to pay them more money from work that they didn't do. Okay?
Okay.
So that's simple.
Okay.
Step 3 is you go back to the bonuses, and you would actually look at the bonuses. Okay, Nelly put 2.5 hours here. Well, that's not right. Look, Steve actually did it correctly. He wrote why he has 5 hours of bonus. Right? So in your bonus hours, you have to put what the bonus hours were for the output. Right? Like what was your actual output, right? So step 3 is to verify that they actually did the output, right? If you don't know, you can ask for help. But the point is that you can review the output budget. You want to make sure that the output is budgeted, because anyone can do output at any time. The question is whether the output is prioritized and budgeted, because there's most output is not budgeted. It's like everyone's doing output all the time. The question is whether or not that particular type of output is budgeted in the budget. Then the next one would be...
Could someone please link the output budget?
Well, you just go to the budget doc, and it's the... it would be the... What is it called? The overall budget has the output. Oh no, it's in our team budget. It's just our team budget for October, December, or October, November, whatever, has the output budget.
Okay.
All right, so verify in their work report that they did the output. So if they don't put the output in their work report, it's not output. Does that make sense? And if they just put like 5 hours of output, right, is not acceptable. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
So it actually has to be work, right? You can't just write, oh, I did 5 hours of output. And like, what did you do the output on? What was the actual work accomplished? Typically, you also would review, like for example, Steve probably spent 15, 20 hours, maybe 30 hours on nonprofit taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are all of those hours output hours? No, of course not. Right? Only like 5, maybe 10 of those hours were output. A lot of the other hours were spent learning about the taxes,
researching instructions, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So the actual output of filling out the forms and finishing the work is the extra work. All the other work is just your normal work, right? So output, if they said, oh, I worked on, my responsibility for 5 hours and all 5 of those hours were output, that would be a red flag. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in Nellie's situation here, we're not particularly worried about whether Nellie did the output or not. We pretty much can assume that she did. It's only 9 hours. It's like not a big deal. Okay, but that is technically step 3, is to verify that they actually did the output. All right.
Okay.
Step 4 is where we're getting into the calculations. So we would do 9 hours. So then you calculate the value of the output. All right. That's step 4.
Mm-hmm.
So calculate the value of the output. And I just want to back up for a second. In that, when Nellie brought up this particular issue, she brought it up in terms of step 4. She just wanted to know how to calculate the value, make sure she knew how to do the calculations correctly. But that's what everyone seems to miss, is that every single responsibility, every single task, everything, every goal, everything that we're doing always has multiple steps ahead of it that you're not considering, right? You always have to think ahead and think 2 steps before what you're thinking about, and make sure that everything else that needs to prepare what you're working on is already done. Because if you just did the calculations for the value of the output, you did it wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you just,
by the way, I can't
just
find the output budget.
did you go to our core team budget? It's like our normal global core team budget, and then it's the tab. It says output.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So, for example, with payroll, if you just want to get everyone paid, you skip 10 steps, right? You're missing the whole point of payroll. If for recruitment, if you just want to send out the invitation letters and it hasn't gotten approved, you missed all these steps, right? So it's like, right, everything that we do, there's always additional steps that people are ignoring, and then once you skip ahead and you start running faster than you actually can, you start tripping, and then you fall over, and it just makes a big mess, right? That's
and everybody else got to fix it.
And everyone else has to fix it, right? Okay, so step 4, calculating, very simple. So you take the total output hours, and then you multiply by the hourly rate. And you can usually find the hourly rate pretty easily. So if you come here so you come up here and you can find Nelly, and it says here Nelly's getting paid $10.16.
$10.16, yes.
Yeah, for their
hour.
But this actual is not always correct, right? So for here, you can see here that is an exact calculation, right? Some people, like for example, me and Steve, our back pay is not associated with our front pay. So because this isn't actual back pay, you don't get a back pay bonus, right? We're paying it upfront pay. So for upfront pay, we just take the existing stipend and we just multiply it forward times the additional hours so that it's a bonus hours, okay? So the way that we calculate it directly would be 162.50, because that's how much Nelly gets paid per week, divided by the number of hours, which is 16 hours, right? Is $10.15 an hour. And then we would multiply that by 9.25 hours, and we get 93.94. Bonuses in general do not have to be exact ever. It's a bonus, right? It's an additional on top of bonus. So when we go back to the oh my gosh, where is it? Here, when we go back to the payroll, when we say $95, I just averaged up a little bit. So it's a minimum 93, 94 is a $94. I just put 95. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
Cool. All right. So any other questions about that? So you multiply by the hourly rate. So for Nelly, it is 9.25 hours of bonus output times $10.15 per hour.
Okay.
All right, so I think that's pretty much it. So any other questions about the output, or can I just really quickly cover Nelly about her paid leave? Okay, so paid leave is technically hours paid because you're paying the previous back pay. So if you do a week paid leave, she's working 16 hours a week. You divide by 2 because you're getting half of that. It would be 8 hours, so it's almost the 9 hours. So you could conceivably say that paid sick leave, it would be considered hours worked, which would actually bring your total number of hours for the month to 88 instead of 80. So in that way, like 8 hours versus 9 hours, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. The point is that there is, I mean, we would need to set a specific policy on it, but there is a precedent to consider paid sick leave actual hours worked in terms of your bonus. So, you know, we'll we'll consider that because I mean I think you would, wouldn't you, Steve? Because it like if for
Yeah, I
example,
think so. Yeah,
if
you
you're
could.
working,
Yes.
if you're working and you're getting a W-2 and you have an hourly rate on, if they pay you sick leave, they would put the number of hours.
It goes on the W-2.
It goes
Yes.
on the W-2
Yes.
as actual hours. So I think it would be considered as actual hours, but I'm not 100% sure on that. We have to double check. So anyways, I'm not too worried about paying you the extra bonus, but I believe we already paid you, right? Let's see, end of month, October, paid Nelly.
Remember that I got the senior sheet? That's why.
Yeah, you also got $62.50 for senior shift bonus manager hours as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, bonus hours for the senior manager shift should already be included in your overall work hours, okay?
Okay.
Like your overall work hours should be all of your work, right? So if you do a senior manager shift, you do 5 hours, 5-hour senior manager shift, and you take a 1-hour break, right? In your work report, it should only say 4 hours of work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But you're on call, so in your senior manager shift hours, you might have a full 5 hours for the hour that you got on break. So therefore, you get an extra bonus hour as a senior shift manager if and only if you work an extra hour of work, you know, later on. Does
Oh,
that
I
make sense?
didn't know there was that part. Oh.
What part? The break?
Yeah, no, the senior to put in the payroll. I didn't know.
Yeah, other/senior manager shift time. So we would have.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It says 15 right here. It says 15.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So basically, you did 1 week's worth. So for a whole month, you get $250. But for 1 week, it's just like a fraction of that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So I think we're done with payroll, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much done. Yeah.
So shall we check out and then we'll be good?
I think that might be a great idea since I've been pretty much running since 11:30 this morning and it's 7 o'clock.
Cool.
Yes, I did take breaks.
Good. Breaks are good. All right.
We
So
took a break.
any last thing before we check out? Let's just review our agenda really quick just to make sure we didn't totally mess something up. Where is it? Here we go. All right. So hard subreddits is done. Payroll training done. Okay. So we completed everything that we wanted to complete here. The other things that we didn't do that weren't as high priorities were the bios. Basically, everyone needs a bio. Steve's supposed to be making a bio doc for every person and linking it to their main doc, and then everyone will be responsible for creating a bio, adding their picture, all that kind of stuff. Main session preparation. I mean, it's scheduled for like a week or two from now, so I'm not too worried about that.
It's the 12th, I think.
Yeah. So the main focus needs to be on the full moon session. Review periods next up. Exit value tracking. We can go through the exit value tracking if needed, but one thing to note is that we're switching to Mattermost for instead of Slack.
Right.
So we need to get you, Jorge, on Mattermost. Exit budget, exit payroll, exit membership meeting, exit taxes. Yeah. So this is
There is no exit payroll this week, right? Jay?
No, there's still at least 5 or 6 people who need to get paid. Exit payroll is constant. It's nonstop. It's just at the beginning of the month, it's just a lot more.
No, you know why I said that? Because they didn't pass the budget.
Yes, they didn't pass the budget, so we don't have to worry about the monthly payroll, but there is a bunch of stragglers that need to be paid.
Okay.
And some retroactive payments that need to be made. And there's actually 2 people who need to get a temporary advance because they just can't go another week without getting paid. All right, so I think we're good. Let's check out. Any other last things you want to say before we check out? All right, let's start with Nelly.
Just one question I saw VJ's left and Jorge. Were you happy with that step 0 that I sent you yesterday? Is that what you wanted? For Jorge?
I don't know.
Happy with what, sorry, Steve?
It's step 0 for I didn't see it. I missed it.
It might be on the Sonic. I'll have to find it and I'll send it to you again. I did send it to you, but I'll find it and send it to you again.
Yeah, I remember you sending it, but then oh wait, Jorge Enterprises step 0. Let's take a look. What is a cyber currency thing? What's that?
They put that in there. There's one spreadsheet that has 3 cyber currencies of his, two Ether accounts and a BTC account.
Okay, so there's blockchain.info, there's Coinbase, and there is I think that's it. Cool. All right, cool, awesome, perfect. Yes, that's exactly correct.
All right.
Although we don't need to link the project finances doc to this, this would link to Jorge entities. So yeah, that would just do this. Jorge entities. And that would be the link to Jorge entities, which is I call that a backlink, right? So it's a backlink. And then this is the Jorge entities account verification. And the only other part missing is it would be broken into each entity. So for example, this one would be JCL2 LLC, and then we have US Bank. Then you have JCL LLC would be US Bank, right? Blockchain.info is
I'm not sure what NSF is, but I know it's an account from the way it was, talked about in the the money going in and money going out, but I don't know what NSF stands for. That's over the Western box there.
Cool.
It might be a little, might be something San Francisco, some small bank.
Great. All right, let's get. All right, let's get review step 0. All right, let's get going and check out Nelly.
Hey.
And Steve, do you want to do our checkouts?
Good. Nelly, would you like to check out?
Yes, of course. I'm glad with this meeting. I think we went through a lot of very important things that we need to organize, and I'm happy because of that because it's going to make the work easier. Check.
All right, Thomas, would you like to check out?
Yes. I'm so happy for this session, and I've learned a lot from recruitment to payroll. So for me, it's a check.
And we'll work more on recruitment tomorrow during that session. It's been a really long day for Thomas, Asif, and I. We've been going basically since 11:30 this morning, or 12 this morning. It's like 7 hours, and for me, it's 7.5 hours. But I think we got a lot of stuff done in this meeting. I appreciate what you're doing to try to help me get through my move and financial crisis, and that losing my extra jobs is definitely going to be. We should be able to get out of this hard stop quickly, God willing, and just check. I'm happy to be here with everybody. Miguel.
Thank you very much for this. Responsibility organizing is one of the most, in my understanding, important things in the organization. I believe everybody must be an expert to do that, because I'm still trying to understand it, and I believe is the know-how of everything else in FQN. And as always, thank you very much. I am very happy to be here, and I hope that I giving output and generating value to the organization and to these people.
When I'm done, I'm wanting to meet Asif.
Yes, both the sessions for me was, very much informative, very much learning. The way Steve is teaching us, believe me, the things which I haven't learned from the last 5 months. I've been now able to achieve my, responsibilities from the last 2 weeks, especially the time when I'm associated with Steve. I really appreciate it because he's teaching us like a child. Um, but I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate this session as well, where we have gone through the payroll process, got a better understanding about it, and the recruitment process as well. So yeah, thank you everybody.
All right. Jay.
Sure, I'll go next.
I'm sorry, Jorge.
Okay.
All right, we covered a lot of things. Glad we could be here. Some things still need to process, but great session overall. Check.
But not least, Jay.
Cool. So the first thing I was gonna say is that in terms of following up with all this information we're learning.
Jay's too busy typing. He can't check out.
Oh, sorry. That was me. Okay, so when Miguel was talking about the importance of responsibility organizing, right? We need to organize all the information, and that includes indexing, information indexing. So if someone could please make sure we copy and paste the output bonus calculation from these notes into the payroll doc. It's super important so that we don't lose track of it. Okay, then the other thing is anybody working over 6 hours in a single day, right? So if you work 7.58 hours in a single day, that would be considered overtime. It's over 6 hours, so that would be 1.5 hours to 2 hours of overtime. If you work more than 4 hours without taking a break, that is also considered overtime. So it's 6 hours per day, and then it's overtime. So if you work over 30 hours in a week, that's another overtime. So there's 3 types of overtime I just mentioned, right? Working more than 4 hours without a break, working more than 6 hours in a day, or more than 30 hours in a week, okay? Each of those can be tracked separately and can be added to your work report. And currently, who? Okay, so like currently the only position that we are proposing that we would actually pay all the overtime and everything in upfront is the co-chair position. But other than that, it's it's all back pay. Okay, so all your overtime pay goes into your back pay, but it's still important. I mean, it's like you're getting 1.5 times the back pay that you would normally be getting, plus 25% on top of that. So it's almost double. All right. So in the context of this meeting, I thought the meeting went very well. I feel like it was really long, and that part of me is just like we should have just gotten to work. We did a lot of work together. And we did a lot. I think we got more detail into recruitment than ever before. And I'm hopeful that we will get our payroll done. But I do hope that in the future we can be more organized and we can have more things getting done, and we can break up into multiple groups. We have more than like 8 people, and then we can get more done and get focused on moving forward with our goals and our priorities for the next week and all that kind of jazzy jazz. So check. We are done.
Right, Jay. I just wanted to ask that in the payroll section, I will just add this. I will just index it under the heading of assessment, payroll, teamwork, and hours and pay. I think you did.
Into the payroll
Tell me, let me share my
the output
screen.
bonus calculation should be indexed into the payroll doc.
Okay, this is a payroll doc, right?
You could also have a,
I'll take care of it.
Oh, okay.
And you could also add these proposals for the recruitment budget or whatever to a recruitment doc. And,
I'll take care of updating the proposal doc. So I always do that.
and I'll be done. I'm done right now. Are we done? Are we good? Any other last questions?
Yeah, I guess we're done. Yeah.
All right, I think we're good. Awesome. Good work, everyone. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm going to go to the bank. I got to go transfer lots of money from one account to another. So I got to do it first.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
See you guys later. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.